Okay. Hello, everybody. Hopefully, you can hear me and we're coming through. Tonight, we're talking about the State of the Union, and as I put it, and what a state it's in. Well, I'm going to hand this over to far more proficient people at this, i.e., the West. Good luck, guys. You're a team.
So what's the State of the Union? The State of the Union is just like a stupid Genesis song. We're in the land of confusion, right? Wouldn't you say that that's the State of the Union?
I thought that was from Disturbed.
I
would agree, sir.
What you saw was an absolute joke. First of all, you have, as Sherardi put it to me earlier, you have a bunch of freaking idiots all dressed in white that look like, they want to be Klan members. All right, on the DM.
Honoring the suffragette movement.
No, I thought it was a chef movement.
You thought it was like the Hell's Kitchen?
Yeah. I was waiting for Gordon Ramsay to come out.
Well, Donald Trump is president, so I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, so they sit on their hands. Trump plays them like a freaking fiddle, right? First of all, he insulted Nancy because he didn't wait for Nancy to announce him. It wouldn't surprise me if Nancy forgot what freaking day of the week it was and didn't go, why am I here again? That's probably why she was in the background trying to read these notes. Where am I? What am I doing?
Using those notes extremely carefully so that she didn't have to clap, right? It's like, shit, I should.
Well, that would be smart if you're just doing a strictly political thing, and then at the same time, I mean, she does have the gavel, MC.
You okay? She has the gavel for what?
Well, the House, and they're on the House chamber, right?
Okay.
She has the gavel. It's her head. She should have banged it into the desk.
She has the right to bang on the thingamajigger.
Oh, no, Pelosi is insane, dude. Come on.
And Donald Trump, to be fair, he may have even forgot. It wouldn't surprise me either way if one of them had just happened to do whatever. But I think Donald Trump is just like, all right. The MC is here, so let's get this show on the road. He's a showman.
Yes, he is. And I would tend to agree with you. I would also tend to think that it's very possible that Nancy Pelosi didn't even think about it. That it didn't even occur to her that she was supposed to do that. Right. It didn't take anybody aback unless somebody pointed it out. Right? Did you even realize it unless somebody was pointing it out, Memes?
I tuned in like 5 or 6. I knew Donald Trump would come out. I saw him coming out. I'm like, all right, this literally reminds me of a WWE match. It's like coming down the aisle, weighing in at 239, just under 1 pound below obese pounds. President of the United States, Donald James Trump.
How dare he? He said, we shouldn't be so divisive. Oh, he also knocked on the idea that maybe we shouldn't be killing infants.
Yeah, that was another side shot, to be honest. But you noticed how they couldn't talk about it? They couldn't stand and support that?
Well, of course not. Who would support murdering a child?
Well, apparently the Democrats, because they all sat on their hands when he stood up there and brought all that stuff up.
Did you see crazy?
Right. If you're going to write legislation, you need to be very specific, or else there could be I don't think they went in there
they
right.
Were cheering in the New York Senate Assembly when they passed that bill to sit up there and ensure you had freaking third trimester abortions up to the point, supposedly, when the biblical cord is still attached, you can still kill the child, and they cheered it. Memes.
MC, according to the way the law was written, they could have potentially cut said umbilical cord, put the child in another room, even resuscitate it, make it comfortable, and then make a decision. So the law really seemed to go further than that. So that's another issue.
I'm talking about the New York law, and they were cheering it.
That's because
Yes,
they were the political.
but-
No, MC. Here's the thing. Why were they
you
doing
cannot
that?
excuse. You can't play this game anymore. You
Didn't
can't sit
somebody
there and
say
tell
the
me
reason
that?
they were
Well,
going through
I
this
I
is
don't
because
think
they
that
think
it's a
President
good
Trump's
thing.
going to stack the Supreme Court? I think a lot of this is a reaction, man. I could be wrong.
It doesn't matter if it's a reaction. How inexcusable is that? You think that it's okay to be cheering as if it's a great victory for women that they get to kill their children in the third trimester.
Or even past that, they were even trying to pass the legislation that it would be okay to euthanize a child after birth.
Well, that's the bill in
that was a Virginia thing.
Yeah,
all right. But I'm
different-
talking about what the Senate did in New York. The fact that they were cheering their passage, that they thought that this is a great thing, memes. Now you tell me how they're looking at that.
How many of them read the bill?
It doesn't matter. How many voted on it? No. How many voted on it?
We passed the I have no idea. We passed the Affordable Care Act, or which one? Yeah, it was the Affordable Care Act.
If you
Nobody
pass a bill
No.
because you don't like something, memes, you don't stand up and cheer it.
No, that's a freaking terrible reason for doing it. But I'm just trying to.
But they did it, didn't they?
Well,
they gave it a standing ovation. The Democrats in the Senate in New York gave it a standing ovation, didn't they, memes?
Is this what's wrong with politics? Because didn't Article 11 and 13 get passed with a resounding applause? And then one of the gentlemen that was in that viral photo who was up there like cheering with his arms up, a gentleman comes up to him after, I think it may have been Dank even, and they go up to him, it's like, you know it's going to restrict this. You know you're not going to be able to have this for your sports things. And he listed a number of things, and the guy's face just slowly drops where he got to the point where he just turned around and walked away. This is the problem. People need to read the legislation.
That's an excuse. You're making up an excuse you can't even say.
I'm not saying it is an excuse. It's a terrible excuse. It's not the way
you're making up an excuse though that you don't even know if it's valid or not.
No, I'm just
trying to come up with a reason.
I don't know the reason they did it.
Would be cheering this. Memes. Give me a reason why anybody should be cheering an abortion bill.
I don't think anybody should. I think abortion should very much be rare, but legal. But rare.
It doesn't matter if you're pro-abortion or anti-abortion. If you think it's a great thing to be killing children in the womb, okay, and to the point where you're so happy it passed that you're gleeful that you're going to give it a standing ovation, you have a problem.
Yes.
Or am I missing something, memes?
MC, I ain't excusing shit. The thing, no. And his dude, I have 2 cousins that were like 3-month preemies and stuff like that. So it's like this is one of those things where I really think it's like, okay, take your explanation, fully steelman that, fully entertain that, and just even throw the full morality and stuff out there. Okay, if you're going to do that, why the fuck are you doing that? Like, why all of a sudden, like, is this the big thing? It almost seems like so many folks hate the president so vehemently that they would be willing to pass that. Like,
it shows you just how I'm not even worried about the passage of it. I can see why people would say, you know what, I feel like this needs to be passed, but you shouldn't be cheering it. There's no excuse in humanity that you would be cheering such an action. That doesn't make that's not the action of a rational human being. Okay.
Actually, unfortunately, that is the reactions of human beings, though. MC, that's the reaction of human beings.
That's a reaction of these leftists.
That's kind of true.
MC, okay. Go on.
And this has been my point the entire time. You constantly harass me, memes, but not all Democrats are like this, not all of this. And I keep trying to point out to you who these people truly are, who the leadership actually is. And you don't want to believe it. You just don't want to believe, all right, who these delusional individuals are. Now, you saw the State of the Union. We're going to dress in white. As to what kind of point was that? these people say one thing. They look out for the media, and the media sits up there and will come up and do exactly what you just did, memes. Come back with excuses for their behavior to hide what their true intent is, even though their true intent is on display day in and day out. What they do is they don't tell people what they do. And yet, then when it comes down to it, when things have been destroyed, like the way the country is divided right now, what do? They go out of their way. They blame Donald Trump. Now, I've got a question for you, memes. And I'm dead serious about this. Tell me one thing Donald Trump's done that is divisive.
How do you mean? The comments after Charlottesville, man.
How were those comments divisive?
How is that divisive? Wait, hold on. Let me see. Give me 2 seconds. Meme, shut the fuck up for 2 seconds. How is it divisive when he said there were good and bad people on both sides? Because I hold to that belief myself, and I watched every video. I've gone through all of it. Explain that to me, memes and MC. What was divisive about what Trump said? Because I thought it was completely bipartisan. Continue, please.
It may have been if you just you could look at the facts. Yes, this was all sides was the term used. What I watched after that, I'm like, okay, I can understand what he's saying. I looked at a number of folks of color on the news, and you know what? Maybe there were some very good actors or something, like folks just having like false tears, but I don't know, man. That looked like folks got hurt. Like that hurt them. That like the leader of their country, the president of the United States, when there were. And
I asked you again, how was it divisive?
Because they think the president's a racist.
Why? Whoa. I didn't ask what that. The fact that they think the president is a racist because they look at their skin color and they say, well, somebody told me he's a racist, so he's a racist.
It goes into the
thinking people. No, it doesn't.
It's what people took away. Dude,
no.
This is
a bunch of mindless fucking regurgitators. They heard something. No, it's the people that they hang around. It's the bloody echo chambers and it's all the other shit that they've been tied into. That's what made them react in the way they did. That's why you got Trump derangement syndrome.
I asked a very specific question, which is, what has Trump done that Trump's done that's been divisive? And the answer is he hasn't done anything. The only thing that he's done is he's been called divisive by people who hate his guts, by people who are liars, who are proven liars. So I ask again, memes, what has Trump ever done that's actually been divisive?
He used words that caused many people a lot of pain.
What you mean?
You tell me what more word he used that caused any single individual pain.
You're so full of shit. Jesus, you are really even stretching.
Why did he come back a couple of days later and then specifically
this is going to be bullshit.
Like,
this is going trying to defend himself for more lies by the press. That's why he came back.
If he had said that at that point, dude, it was after.
No, if he would, no matter what he would have said at that point, memes, all right, they were going to twist it and say that he said X, Y, Z.
It wasn't what he did.
Hey, memes.
Lack of what he did.
Memes.
Oh no,
I'll agree with you. Well, you see, no, memes. I'll agree with you. Oh yeah, he did hurt someone's feelings because I saw Bernie Sanders when he said, "This country will never be socialist." Oh yeah, I saw Bernie. He was not looking too happy at that point. So yeah, he did hurt someone's feelings.
What was this Sticks trolling? I haven't watched.
If you're saying these people,
you haven't seen Bernie's reaction when he said that.
I listened to Sticks' reaction and a couple of the highlights when he said that, and
it's fucking hilarious. I mean, so he hurt one person's feelings. So, fucking
believe it.
Bernie.
Sticks tweeted. It must have been less than 30 or 40 seconds later.
So how many people?
Oh, seriously, memes.
Jack said that's
no, memes. Shut up, memes. Just what if you really think that these people who are running your country are so fucking tepid, so insipid, so worthless that they get offended by a couple of words in a speech from their president? Then what the fuck are you even doing with these people in a position of
Well,
And you certainly wouldn't want them elected to a position where they might be involved in war situations.
In fairness, though, the press, as much as they hated Trump, had to come back and admit that Trump was not divisive at all in this speech.
He wasn't. It's horseshit. He's just getting the rise. I mean, that's what I mean. If it's really going to be this level, then there's no point being it. If that's really all you've got, means you've got fuck all.
Well, yeah, but Memes was talking about. We were talking about something completely different. We were talking about Charlotte and a total thing, not necessarily State of the Union in this case.
Yeah, but it's the whole. Oh, right. Well, I thought it applied in both ways.
Well, not so much on the State of the Union. I at least understand where Memes is coming from.
You're looking for an action, MC, that's fair. That's fair. You asked what he did, and I came back with what he didn't do. So that's unfair. So how about shutting down the government?
What was shutting down the?
How was that the fun? MC, I remember listening earlier in the day where you were reaming Trump the hell. It's like, he should declare a state of emergency. He should do this. And then I remember about 4.5, 5 hours later when he basically just vetoes that shit. And you were ecstatic, man. Yep. And you were laughing about, and okay, take how you felt at the beginning of the day and how you felt at the end of the day and strike that and reverse it.
Divide it by 2 and that's 16.
No, I still don't see your point.
Because a lot of folks think it's like the president, he's shutting down the government,
but there goes the
government over a fucking wall. That's the argument.
No. The argument that it's not an argument.
It's about a wall. It's about border security.
Okay, I can actually say you can actually point out and say that can be considered divisive unless you sit up there and figure why is that divisive for Americans. You see, now you got a problem here because the only ones who found that divisive were people who want to support non-citizens.
Guys, please, thank you. Matt wanted me to read before the speech. The MSM were talking about blackface and Confederate flags, not even Trump.
Yeah, that's
dumb as fuck. Please read.
Yeah.
Okay,
And he's right about that too. They're already comparing him. They're trying to already set the stage. The media is all right that this guy is freaking Hitler incarnate.
Sorry, Jensen, were you going to actually read something?
Donald Trump isn't Hitler.
No, Jensen.
Yeah.
Were you about to read something? You said he asked you to please read. So what are you reading?
That statement that was made prior to that. Would you like me to reread it, sir?
No, it's fine. No, normally you say he asked me to read, and then you say what he asked you to read, rather than you read something, and then you say he asked me to read.
He put it at the end, and I literally read it. Sorry.
Did the president mention that at all in the State of the Union?
He never mentioned Mad Dodge one iota.
Of course not.
I don't have any recollection.
Okay, well that's fair. That sounds like it wouldn't be as divisive because that was very low-hanging fruit, which good for him.
It wouldn't be relevant, would it?
What happened to your hair? Did you cut it all off there, Memes?
What?
Oh no, that's not Memes. That's
you you Miss-Martianed me.
I'm sorry. I got the wrong Martian.
But Memes, sorry again, just with what you were saying before, you were going on about it. It's about the wall. No, it wasn't. It was about border security. The wall is a method of implementing. No, yes, it's a method of implementing. You are so full of. I mean, you just dance around the fucking pin.
Let's be honest. They don't disagree with it. They know it's going to allow better U.S. security. They're against that. Because they're against the country.
Well, MC,
they're against Trump.
MC, this is
they are against the nation.
MC.
I think that's where you lose a lot of folks, MC.
Because why? Why? Because they don't want to face reality?
MC, I said to you before, when he lifted the shutdown, and you were saying it's the worst thing that could happen. I said, no. If he plays this right, he's going to play a blinder. And he played it exactly as I said. If he played it that way, he would get he would fucking tranche him because he did exactly that. He said, look, I've tried, and this is when the partisan stuff, and it's like, I'm trying, it's now up to you. And you look how bitter and nasty and fucked up that these people are going to be because they know they lost that. He played that he played that entire speech like a fiddle. He played the whole of Congress.
He did play the speech like a fiddle. All right. The thing is that it's not going to have any kind of resonance because the press will still provide cover for the Democrats.
No.
Even H.A. Goodman today surprised me.
I'm not talking about that. This speech was not for Congress. He was playing to the gallery.
I understand, but
he was playing to the people.
I agree with
give a shit about the Congress.
I agree with you, but the problem is that it's not going to be remembered.
Oh, it will be, because when the congressmen turn up and the congressmen are talking to their electorate and things like that. Oh, you think that the electorate's not going to forget it? As I say.
Oh, yes, it will.
They will over time, naturally. I mean, but I'm saying not in the near future. And don't forget, all they need is one little reminder, one little nudge, and all of those good memories get flushed back. And all he's got to do is give them a nudge just before the 2020. And they go, oh, yeah, fucking hell, you remember that speech? That was
no.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have to...
MC, let me just interject this one thing, and actually to piggyback off of what Cabby said is when he reopened it. I mean, I believe you even mentioned a lot of folks were starting to hurt. Folks were missing second paychecks, and folks like literally they were going to give it out like food early and stuff like that to try to keep people from not starving. So when it got to that point, it's like, all right, he opened it up. So you're starting to see perhaps some of the benevolent leader. Yes, he was firm. He said he was going to. He said he had no problem shutting down the government during the campaign. I'm just basing it on the things that he said previously, and now he's reopened it. He set up. He's literally teed up Congress. He literally took a volleyball, went set up Nancy Pelosi perfectly. It's like, all right, Nancy, you can spike this. You can go through with this. But if she's betting her career on just stopping Donald Trump to shut down the government again, when the president said, he's like, oh no, I opened it for humanitarian reasons, but we have to do this. I believe the president actually still has one last trump card, because if they try to shut it down again, the sheer fact that overall it seems that was a very positive speech taken by many Republicans, even some Democrats, and probably a lot of independents as well. He has that goodwill there, so he can turn back to Nancy Pelosi and say, with all due respect, Speaker Pelosi, elections have consequences. And
not only that,
but you know the press is going to malign it. You know how the press is going to play this.
Exactly.
And what's more is the American people.
And it plays into his hands.
Yeah, I don't think it narrative of the fake news. Well,
it plays into his hands because the people watched it. Yeah, it does.
I'm telling you now.
It doesn't. You told me before and you got it wrong. So
I have been wrong before, but I'm not wrong.
We'll see.
Let's listen to MC.
For a second, asshole.
Time will tell.
All right. I do agree with you. I have gotten this wrong in the past. All right, with several different things. But I'm not wrong about how this is going to get played in the press and how they're going to avoid, all right, placing the pressure, all right, because the press will not go out of their way to ask the Democrats anything.
No, and that's not the point, though, MC.
No, it is the point, because day after day, what people are going to hear is the president bad, the president bad, the president bad, the president bad.
But MC,
no matter what else goes on, all they're going to hear is president.
People ignore it.
When people think about Democrats, what are they thinking about now?
Oh, MC. Look, this is the thing. Stuff. Exactly.
They're going to come back and say, "We told you he was petulant. He's just doing it again." That's the only soundbite you're going to hear them get from Nancy Pelosi.
And as I said, this is the whole point. They're going to play, and they're going to be bitter, and they're going to be nasty, and they're going to not do the bipartisan thing that he asked, and they're going to be the ones who show themselves up, and then he can do the slam dunk. Then he can show them for what they are.
There's diminishing returns on negative press. We think we saw this during the election itself, man.
Exactly.
If they go after him so much, and he keeps on saying fake news, even if the majority of people don't like him, you don't need to like a man to use a man. You simply need to know a man. And Donald Trump might be those people's man.
Whoa. Stop. Time out for everybody. Everybody time out. Let's take 2 seconds. Okay. All right.
So a prayer.
So Donald, what he was doing was trying to do his best not to anger everybody, but he was also doing his best to piss off the insane liberals because they are out of their fucking mind with hold on. Let me finish, and please, by any means, anybody else continue. What I think he was doing was trying to be a president, and I've never really seen the Donald try to be straight up presidential. This time, he was trying to bring parties together. He wasn't trying to cause major issues. However, we know the issues are going to happen no matter what. And I was just trying to get everybody breathing room for a second, and I'm done with my babble. So continue, everybody else.
Well, I will just stick with the point that I've made before, and I said it at the very beginning when he removed the closure. And if he just continues down this, they will go down that route. We all know how the media is going to operate. We know that they're reliably incompetent, and the people who are reading this stuff are going to be going. It's the same thing as people will look to their books. They'll look to what their tax returns are. They're going to look at what their their taxes are. They're going to look at their quality of life. They're going to look at their jobs, whether their kids have jobs and things like that. Those are the things that people are going to be actually working on in a lot of respects when it comes to doing votes and stuff. Yeah. So, and then all he's done, he's laid a whole bunch of landmines here for the Democrats to blow their own legs off because they won't be partisan and they won't, go with the flow. I mean, hell, he even got the bloody chefs jumping up and down.
Well, I believe that was for the 100th year anniversary of the suffragette movement, the implementation of the 19th Amendment. My apologies, Tom, but it's a thing and it's not going away. But no, there are two times that a lot of folks don't like Donald Trump. And you know what? You might not like the guy, but he has been consistent for the most part for what I've seen. Like everything I've seen him do makes sense within the scope of Donald Trump. Now, there are two times where I've seen him be just noteworthy, extremely benevolent. One, when after I think it was second or third debate with Hillary Clinton, when he was there with Secretary Clinton, they asked her what she admired most about him. She mentioned he has a great family. So basically his prodigy and everything were what she was highlighting.
Yeah, that's
dude, Cabbage, I need to get this in. Jesus. No, for him, he said, I admire her. She's a fighter. She doesn't quit. He was actually being benevolent and giving her credit for something. The other was last night when he was talking about for this guy that's supposed to be such a misogynist, this and that. And you know what? He was probably a womanizer and stuff like that. He's also 70-something years old. You take that in consideration. Doesn't make it right, but the sheer
doesn't matter.
He had them up there clapping for him. Exactly. I'm agreeing with you, Kevin.
Yes, I know, and this is what I need you to say. Yeah,
I don't like my voice.
Well, no, it's just all of that. Just agree. Just say yeah, because that's exactly. I mean, and then of course with that socialist thing, the country will never be, a socialist country. I mean, that was a slap. Fucking. I mean, that
was a troll. Absolutely, it was well played.
I'm with you, Cabby. You know what? I have no problem being a misogynist. I am perfectly fine with the fact that I am a male and I am a misogynist. I don't give a shit.
He's going to get all these people, all these howlers. Yeah, but he's going to get all of these howlers in the media and all of these, these sort of social justice or whatever people who are now going to be coming out screaming at the top of their lungs like the people. And everyone's going to be looking at it and saying, holy shit, these lunatics have just got more insane.
Oh, you think it was completely
they're not
deliberate?
Going to be... No, yeah, of course. Oh. I said that at the beginning. I said if he plays it right, this is exactly what the result's going to be. We're going to go fucking... spiteful, evil, and everyone's going to go, yeah, this is why we fucking voted for him. It's a perfect reminder if they act in the way that they inevitably will.
I got you.
One diet.
Yeah, but I don't think that's how it's gonna play out. I don't think that's how it's going to get played in the press. I think after day after day after day after day of hammering and lying in the press, the effects are noticeable. All right. And that people get worn down, and that's what they will go with again. And they're going to wear it down right back to right back to where they had it. It doesn't happen necessarily rapidly, but time after time after time, you will see them bringing this up again and again and again.
So,
You've already seen it. You've already seen how the Democrats are going to play it. Well, we're going to release the testimony of the people that gave us, a closed door testimony, and we're going to release it to Mueller's team so that he can sit up there and tell us if more of these people lied, so we can charge them under oath.
yeah, but that seems to be just blatant politics at that point when you start getting shit like that.
It doesn't matter if there's people that aren't telling people that it's nothing more than blatant politics, that these people are truly bad. That's what they believe.
Oh, that'll be true for some folks, but as far, dude,
no. It's not going to be true of some folks.
Demonization only goes so far, man, because folks also do have the internet now. A lot of these folks that are just getting sick and tired of just seeing Donald Trump getting beaten the hell out of, some of them might actually be watching your channel. Some of them might actually be watching us right now.
I don't think that they're watching my
not on mass.
They're watching us now.
But it goes both ways, MC. The president has been labeling the mainstream media fake news for
when was the last time
long.
He called?
Dude, who's gonna give out first?
When was the last time that
the mainstream media?
When was the last time that you saw him going after fake news, calling them they were fake news?
I don't know.
Kind of slowed down, hasn't it? It's kind of been quiet.
It's almost like he's being benevolent. He's not.
I don't think it's because he's being benevolent.
I'm believing Cabbage more and more now because it is a sales technique.
But this is the thing. I mean, and also, why do you want benevolency? Even Margaret Thatcher said, "I'd rather be respected than liked." This idea of you've got to be benevolent and everything. But I mean, he did show the benevolence, and he showed all of the things that were very good, and that's the whole point, because he appealed to that sort of take, right?
I don't think this is going to be as effective as you think it is, especially when it comes.
I tell you what,
especially when it comes to core principles, because the Democrats have not lost.
We don't have principles.
I've witnessed this bed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, MC, do you accept an offer has been made?
Yep. I'll make you a $5 bet. That's how it works out. He'll get his wall.
Okay, so you're betting he's going to get the wall and over $5. Okay.
Oh, no, not just the wall, but all the stuff I said about how it's going to play out in the fact of, obviously
you need to specify what we're wagering on, Cabby. Otherwise,
I'm not gonna go wager on anything, to be honest.
What I just went over, what I just explained. I mean, I gave a fairly good sort of, it's fairly broad, but because it's a period of time. Lots of things
you how about a wager a $5 Streamlabs donation to Mad Dodge Productions?
Well, I can do that, but there's
no reason to create a wager here. We'll see how it plays out in the course of time. All right, I'm not stressing on that. I could be wrong about this. I don't think I am. I'm giving you my opinion as to what I think is going to happen, and what I think is going to happen is the press is going to play this exactly like I said, which is they're going to sit up there and say that Donald Trump is the one who's at fault. That they're not going to sit up there and question any Democrat. That they're going to let the Democrats tell them how they want to define it, and then they're going to go running right back to every single Republican, and they're going to start turning the screws to a bunch of rhino Republicans. And that's how it will get played.
That is, I can absolutely believe that is exactly how it will be played. It wouldn't surprise me in the least. However, I think you're looking at it from kind of like a strategic, like if you're going to lay siege to an area to try to flush an enemy combatant out, you're looking from a strategic position. And from that position, what you're saying makes sense. I think Cabbage and we're looking at it from more of a corporate sales perspective, like prospective clients. I'm looking at it.
But you got to understand something. Trump isn't the one who can decide this. The ones who are weak around Trump are the Republicans. All they have to do is get the Republicans to cave, and that's what they got. They've already got that to happen once, and they're going to get them to do it again. No, they did.
Well, they did. Like I said, but you're not including the fact that speech yesterday got fucking brilliant response. 76. What was it? 76 response. Oh,
has zero effect on the Republicans that have to support him.
Oh, we're getting hand slapping. MC
Oh.
is serious. No,
No.
but yes.
All right, this is the
president
reason that I
also
don't think
laid
you
out a
get it, because you
timer.
think it.
He's like 10 days from
think
the
it's
day the
all
government will
about-
shut down. Let's please do
you think-
something.
You think it's all about just purely the Congress. It isn't.
Yeah.
It clearly isn't. It's about the people, and it's about the perspectives, and it's also about these people wanting to keep their jobs. And I mean, in the Congress, they're going to be looking at an approval rating of 76%, and they're going to be going, "Holy shit! If we really come out and show ourselves as rhinos and actually against something which is which is positive." There was nothing negative in any of that speech. It was all good shit. Positive, more women,
Twitter.
everything. So I mean, what is there to be negative about within that speech? Is why it's going to make all these liberals look so fucking petty, because they're going to have to start bringing up things like Pissgate again, because they got nothing. They got a bunch of compliments, so they got nothing out of it that they can really bitch about. I mean, that's why Nancy Pelosi was basically eating her face during most of the speech.
MC, if we were back in the 90s, I'd say you would be probably right. But in the current year, yes, 2019, we do have the internet. If a lot of folks see the same thing and they're being told one thing, but a lot of other things happen, and a lot of the other media stories, they end up being no. I seriously think President Trump just does stuff that he knows will be leaked, because a lot of times, what was it yesterday? Oh, his aides or President Trump is so angry. He was seething about like.
All right, let's talk about something for a second. I need you guys to listen to this. Okay. Fox News for the State of the Union. All right. They an estimated 11.1 million people tuned in. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For NBC, 7.1. CBS, 6.7. ABC, 5.6. MSNBC, 3.8. And CNN, 3.4.
Mm-hmm.
Notice the difference when you start dealing with the total difference in the perspectives.
No, because the polls were nonpartisan polls.
No, I understand that. I'm talking about the power of the press. One group reaches 11 million. The other group reaches over twice that easily.
MC.
Yes, but that's only but that was for one very. Yeah, that's for one very specific event.
I mean, realize it's only.
What are their numbers?
I realize it's only for one specific event, but it shows you the playground. It shows you that gives a demonstration of what the ground is like.
But how many of those folks are hardcore political junkies, dudes? Because MC, I'll be,
and exactly what I'm saying. Most people aren't. All right,
but most people want to listen to the President of the United States. It's once a year.
The percentage, but hold on here. But the percentage of the people that are hardcore junkies are going to be higher for Fox News than they will be for NBC, CBS, and ABC. Yet when you start adding, hold on a second, Cabbage. But when you start adding up their perspectives, what happens is that their reach to the average person who's not watching the political side, who's not involved in really finding out what the issues actually are. What they're doing is they're listening to the framing of that only by the left.
Well, yeah, but that's like anyone who's in an echo chamber, somebody who doesn't have internet and just sitting there watching their CNN. That's always been the case. But the thing is, look at their fucking numbers on a normal day. This is an exceptional day. It's one very specific day where people tune in for one very specific reason. Now, you show me CNN's average numbers, or MSNBC or Fox or whatever, on an average day. What an average show gets. Nowhere near those numbers.
No, I understand. I'm not talking about. I'm just showing.
And by the way,
I understand that the numbers.
And family.
I understand the numbers and the interest in the State of the Union are different. That's not my point. The point is to show you how slanted the field is. When you talk about what people are going to believe and what people are going to hear, what you're forgetting is the fact that there's a constant drumbeat by over 2/3 of the media from a reach perspective. All right, negative on Trump. It doesn't take long.
Well, they did that. He still got voted in, and they did that for how long prior to it? Not only that, they had him being recorded saying he's going to grab a pussy. Yeah, well, you know that he could grab a pussy. I mean, he got recorded saying that he could kill somebody in Times Square.
That, all right, in this next election, and re-elected 40 freaking Dems to the freaking House. Cabbage.
You're not looking at the how
it's because they've had 2 years to bash him into the ground with.
MC, I'm going to say something.
And that's exactly what's going to happen.
I'm going to say something highly disrespectful, and my apologies to you, MC. But do you not think that the Commander-in-Chief of the United States still has like that much sway or something? Because, dude, back in the day, I remember when the one of my friends at a filling station, she was like a 19-year-old girl. She didn't really care a shit about politics. She's like, I need to leave right on time tonight. I need to have my draw done. I need all your money and memes because the president's having the State of the Union, and I want to see it. A lot of folks care about that. And even during, what was it, 95 or so, when the
why is it different
verdict came on? Yeah, President Clinton was giving an announcement. National. Oh, sorry, Echo. Just mute yourself. Thank you. No, when President Clinton was making an address saying we don't want to have rioting or stuff in the streets, depending on what the OJ verdict comes as, I remember the verdict actually came in, but they didn't cut away. They kept on the president. I'm not sure all those networks, if the OJ Simpson verdict was coming in today, they would stay on the president. Because my dad did comment that he was
depends on who the president is. They were full blown supporters for frickin' Bill Clinton, or have you forgotten that?
Then why would
they were covering up his crimes for people, or have you forgotten what they were doing?
What's better to take your mind off of crimes than a salacious trial verdict?
You know, and here's the other thing.
But in this case, you have a different dynamic entirely. It isn't about the POTUS. It's about they don't like Trump because he has an R by his name, and they're going out of their way. Their goal is to demonize him.
Well, that may be a potential contributing factor, but it's also Donald Trump, and he hasn't.
Okay, memes, right? Okay, memes, memes, right? But previously he got in despite being slagged off, you know, and despite all the things that he said and everything that should have absolutely disclaimed him from ever becoming president. Okay, so he got in on the back of all of that negative press.
Yeah.
Now he's actually president. As you said, people have a natural preponderancy to, you know, say, well, you know, it's the president, you've got to support your president, that kind of thing. You know, don't change your a horse in midstream and all that kind of stuff.
They threw that.
That
that's
plays
gone.
into it.
That's
but
gone.
hang
that
on,
is gone. That viewpoint's totally gone.
Well, no. But hang on. But the thing is, he has produced results for a lot of people. Plus, when he said that $500, you know, fine that's going to disappear for the average person. Now, none of the Democrats wanted to celebrate that, but you think how many people at home are going to say, yes, that's one of the things we voted him in for.
But
we got something out of what we wanted.
When it comes to getting that wall, when you're talking about getting the wall done, that has absolutely nothing to play in it because it's not up. They don't care about that. That has nothing to do, all right, with whether or not he gets his wall or not. It's
about delivering. When people come to the people are going to vote on the basis of the fact that they've got some kind of delivery.
That is for him when he's running for re-election, but we're not talking about him running for re-election at this point. There's still a lot that's going to change, all right, between now and 2 years from now when the election actually gets into full gear here. All right, we got a long ways to go before any of that plays out. So to try and handicap it from that standpoint is immaterial. But what we've got coming is in 10 days, you're going to have another situation where the government's going to get shut down again. And once again, the press is going to sit up there and play the game of poor Nancy Pelosi, and they're going to sit up there and ram again and again and again, and it's going to be drip, 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 drip All right, it's going to be harder to convince them. Meanwhile, what Trump has to do is he has to keep the rhino Republicans who are going to have a camera in their face every single day saying, how come you keep backing Trump? How come you keep backing Trump? How come you keep backing Trump? Look at these people suffering. How come you keep backing Trump? And you're going to have them sitting there showing clips of the Democrats going, you know, the president just doesn't care about people. And they're going to go, how come you don't care about people? How come you don't care about people? And they're not going to be doing it to Trump. They're not going to be doing it to Trump, Cabbage. They're going to be doing it to the rhinos, and they're going to pay again.
I'm sorry, but it's nonsense, right? Because, as I said, people are going to remember the way the Democrats reacted during that speech. And they reacted appallingly to the good stuff. Right? No, because all he has to do is remind them with a single tweet. Just say, oh, yeah, right, they responded that way. He just gave himself all his ammunition. He doesn't need the
And the press will say, what about that?
And
the press will say nothing about that.
But no one gives a shit about the press anymore.
No, you are wrong, Cabbage.
No, I'm not. Because if I am, we would never get there to begin with.
Cabbage, shut up.
Okay, how did he get there to begin with?
Shut up. You do not understand.
Hey, you're making a claim.
Cabbage, you do not understand the absolute fear by the Republican congressmen, the Republican senators, and the Republican House members. They are terrified of the press.
Yes.
Who are they more afraid of? The press or the president?
You see, this is what fucking annoys me. If you'd let me explain this, MC, right? You got a 76% approval rating for the actual, State of the Union. So you got all of these people who are looking at it thinking, he's actually playing very, very well to all of our people, right? Then they also recognize that, I mean, if they try and do some kind of, Caesar Brutus sort of thing, and they try and stab him in the back, you think that's going to go down well with their people too? Like the rhinos, really? At a time where he's just got a 70%.
It won't go well for them.
And they try and stab him.
But it will go well for the Democrats.
No, MC, okay. To prove Cabbage's point, we need to demonstrate the ammunition. What is the ammunition here? He extended an offer to the Democrats. Listen, for 200 miles of wall, I will extend the Dreamers for an additional 3 years, full legal status right there. And he had already put the offer on the table of actually giving a 12-year path to citizenship, which is including even more folks than were originally included within the Dreamers. He can cite those acts of actual benevolence. And again, if it was back in the day, sure. But the thing is, MC, it's just... Yes, all those Democrats and everything. Most folks are just going.
Did it work when he tried it this last time?
Most folks will watch the State of the Union.
I'm sorry, but did it work?
About politics.
Did it work when he tried it?
Well, we'll
for
see.
what?
He did try it already. He already extended that olive branch, and the freaking Democrats kicked it to the side. It didn't work. They scared the Republicans into telling Trump, "Oh, you got to open
all
up."
The clips from when he can do it now. He can tweet it out, and whatever he wants to show the public will be.
It isn't.
A lot of the times,
the thing is, you guys keep focusing.
May not have been seen.
Trump's problem isn't keeping the people involved in that regard, because they're not going to be looked at. What's going to be happening is the press is going to be coming back going, look at how you're looking. Look at how you're looking. Not the president.
Exactly.
Look at how you are looking. Because
that's what they've done.
Trump, no, you're wrong.
They have done the whole, that's what they've done the whole time while he was coming up to be president and while he's been president. Oh, really?
They backed the frickin' Republicans down. They got the Republicans to blink because they scared them once. And they're going to do it again because it won't be about the president. I keep trying to point this out. They're going to be having their faces in front of the American people.
MC, I would agree with you. I would agree with you if it was not Donald Trump. Here's the thing. Donald Trump is kind of like Godzilla. Conventional weapons do not work on him. You need to think like Donald Trump. You need to try to prepare for Donald Trump, because Donald Trump, as soon as he opens his mouth, the radioactivity that comes out, it may destroy things. It may destroy himself, but at this point, it hasn't destroyed him.
It hasn't destroyed him, but it can destroy the Republicans.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Shut up just for 2 seconds. Okay. So memes meaning that Donald Trump is the greatest troll in the world and he is untrollable? Is that basically what you're trying to tell us?
He's the most powerful troll in the world.
No, it's not. No, it's not. That's what memes would try and sell somebody because he's an idiot. I'm trying to actually point out some strategic stuff.
Hey,
Proper
Cabbage,
stuff.
can both those things
goddamn it,
not be
Cabbage.
true? Can both those statements not be true?
Hush a moment. I'd like to read something, guys. Please.
I just want to say my shit.
Okay, guys. There was more to that speech. Move on to foreign policy.
Yes. So what I was trying to say is, whether you hate or love the president, you should still be okay with the situation in America as far as jobs and money goes. We're doing pretty decent.
That's what I'm saying. See, people are still going to look at their pocketbook, and then when you get these crazy fuckers who are all screeching and whining on their CNN and everything, and people are going to look at it and say, these people are just getting weirder and they're getting freakier, and they're going to lose any kind of relevance that they have more than they have already, because he's done everything now. Absolutely. The numbers going, because people just, they don't see
5.9 million
what
new
they're
jobs,
being told.
58% of them being women. Those seem like good numbers. I thought a bunch of people clapped.
A lot of chefs.
Yeah, and how was that played? How was that played by the press that very day?
Yeah, exactly.
Does it
and
matter?
Nobody cared because the 76% approval rating.
Numbers for adding literally almost 3 million. Actually, no, 3 million women to the workforce in his first 2 years.
Okay.
Despite how it was reported, he's still got a 76% approval rating.
But you keep thinking that this is not. The president doesn't have the kind of power that a prime minister has.
Prime minister got fuck all power, actually.
Right. And so when you start comparing this, as far as that goes, but let's go back to let's do what was requested, which is let's pivot and go to foreign policy. Where has, and I'm going to be dead serious about this, where has President Trump made a mistake in foreign policy? I think he's had a freaking phenomenal foreign policy.
I don't actually, MC, I'm with you. I don't actually see a mistake there whatsoever. I see people getting mad simply because it's Donald Trump. But then again, I don't think they would be nice if it was any Republican at the moment with the R in front of their name. That was
the press isn't going to play it that way. But when it comes to foreign policy, even that dingleberry, right? Freaking Stacey Abrams, whatever her freaking name is. All right, the person who gave the DNC response to it tried to sit up there and make an issue of the immigration as if somehow he doesn't understand foreign policy or so forth. And they constantly complain about how our allies around the world are XYZ. But if you take a look at his foreign policy accomplishments, it's going to be hard pressed by anybody to sit there and say that he has not had a wonderful time with foreign policy. He hasn't made any mistakes.
How dare you say that President Trump almost did what President Obama would do, except he actually met with preconditions, Kim Jong-un, and we could potentially see one Korea form again. They actually went together at the Olympic Games. I'm not sure when the last time that happened was. So, there are actually, and again, I'm going to say the memetics. It's just what folks take away and just snippets and stuff like that. If you have actual data to support it, you've got a strong case.
Means this is my point, is that he's laying the landmines for these fuckers, and which is what he did during the State of the Union address. It's like, I've now got this agreement coming through. I'm now going to be talking to these people. We have this in process. They said this couldn't be done. Now we're doing it. So, and then, like I said, these things are being turned into memes because of how hard he fucking slammed them. The amount of Nancy Pelosi fucking memes I've seen. So these things are going to stick with people. People will remember it. I'm sorry, but you don't get.
No. Under the exact same scenario, do you think Jeb Bush could have done what Donald Trump has done?
No, could he?
Could he have? Probably. Would he have? No, because he doesn't have the intestinal fortitude to do it.
I don't think he's I don't think he'd have even thought about most of the stuff that Trump's done. I mean,
Please.
he'd just fallen straight in
Wow.
line with the establishment.
Did you think that he would have sit up there and taken a hard line on North Korea?
I think he'd have just done whatever the normal establishment
MC.
route would have been.
Jeb Bush? Are you kidding? Jeb Bush?
I probably could have voted for Jeb, but
No,
please.
memes.
Slap.
Shut up and let him talk.
Jeb Bush can't even jack off without fucking smacking himself in the forehead.
Oh,
Anyway,
that's
what were you
bad.
saying? What were you saying? Memes.
If it's these things are becoming into memes, Jeb Bush unfortunately had one of the saddest memes of the campaign. He's in there. I think he was actually in New Hampshire, and he was going along, and it would end up being like such a long little town hall. It was like 90 minutes, and towards the end, he's saying his dramatic part. He's like, "I think we need a president that actually is strong, but speaks a lot quieter." And he finishes up, and like a lot of folks weren't even sure if he was done. You see one dude sleeping in the side, and he's like, "Please clap."
Yeah, I remember the police clap. That was funny.
No,
Trump tells the ladies, no. He's like, "Oh, you're not supposed to do that." He's turning it into a joke. He's like, no, don't sit down yet. He's like, "You're gonna like this." He's like, "Oh, by the way,
that's what I mean."
those
He played
5.9
it.
million, 58% were gals. It's like
I'm surprised at the end of it. He didn't
AOC,
say,
even Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
"Hey, look at the end of it. Shut up, memes." At the end of it, I'm surprised he didn't say, "Thanks very much. I'll be here all week. Don't forget to tip your waiter." I mean, that's how it was played.
That's very true. Cabby, you got an awesome piece out. Loved it. Me, please. What were you saying before you were talking in between each other? Please, what did you say, bro?
The biggest thing about Donald Trump for me, and this is why I had to say like earlier, it's like Donald Trump is not Hitler. If folks are pretending he's Hitler, it's like you're saying he's the leader of somebody that is in the process of like genociding 6 million people, basically going to start to invade all these places. As far as I know, he's drawing down troops in some areas, maybe bolstering them in others. He's doing a number of strategic things. He seems to have given off the wrong coordinates for an aircraft carrier at one point, which it wouldn't surprise me if he was just doing that to throw stuff out there. He has actually done things that you can actually see. There are actual numbers now to finally support him. And when folks go out there, and if you're going to compare him to fucking Hitler, and he's not doing Hitler-like things, it's like that does seem extremely disingenuous. And it's just the comparison. It's like, and MC, this is where like I think I cited earlier and in previous times, like where I think you kind of lose me and a lot of other folks. It's like when you do use the term, and I can realize you've gotten a hell of a lot better, man. I do appreciate it. Like sometimes you'll say all Democrats want to see the country fail and stuff like that. And when if somebody is looking for like a socialist or a communist revolution, they're looking for a violent overthrow, you're essentially looking to see the U.S. fail. And there are some folks that do want that. I have to acknowledge that because that is a thing. But when you say all of them, it's like they're taking that to heart, and then it just plays into each other a bit.
Yeah, but I don't think they're taking it to heart. You say that they're taking it.
I'm sorry, MC. I'm saying that I think that your original point when MC says that, he's not talking about Democrats. He's talking about the crazy far-wing left.
But those weren't the words that came out. I understand what he means, but that's just what happens. And to use a quote from President Trump, on many sides.
Yeah, but once again, that's just an excuse. It's an excuse to cover for it. I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to be real blunt with you. You can't sit up there and play pussyfoot with this shit anymore. The consequences are too dire. When I sit up there and I use the term all Democrats, especially when I'm referring to what happened with the New York abortion ruling, right? You can't sugarcoat that. You cannot sugarcoat that the people who selected their representatives, all right, to the state of New York, okay, and didn't expect them to be standing up and cheering, all right, on the abortion law that they set up there and did. No, they did know who they were voting for.
MC,
okay.
Why did we hear about this when it was passed?
No, but that's the point. Again, another one of his chestnuts. He addressed it. And there was a massive applause. And again, that rings out. Now, okay, you can get a bunch of people screeching and stuff, but there's a lot of people out there who consider that to be a very important issue for them. And he fucking stuck it up. I mean, you see Nancy Pelosi's face at that point. She looked like she'd sucked a lemon. You know? Didn't know where to turn.
If you're going to sit there and say that that is not what Democrats want, then you'd better start trying to figure out and explain to me why they keep voting for these people.
Yes, but Democrats is not some honest group. It's like when people say, you know, there are left of center, right of center. I mean, unless you're saying that everything is right wing or left wing and it's all extreme.
No, I'm saying that the left wing, the Democrats are a hardcore left wing group.
Yes.
All right.
And the thing is that they are, and this is my point, that with every single time that they do this shit, and he's coming back with this sort of stuff, they are isolating themselves more and more and more from the more moderate and the more reasonable Democrats.
I don't think that they are.
You're going to end up with this isolated.
I don't think that they are, because in the United States, they don't follow politics enough to believe that that's the case.
Well, we'll see.
Even memes right here, he watched them do it. He doesn't believe that the vast majority of them are hardcore leftists.
Well, we'll
do
see.
You memes?
Well,
are the majority of the elected
all different folks being represented? If folks want to vote for Bernie Sanders, they can vote for Bernie Sanders.
He doesn't want to admit that the Democrats, that the representative,
honesty is a big thing, and if folks are going to be
honesty is a big
whatever,
thing?
It's like you open yourself.
Really? You're going to sit up there and tell me you think honesty is a big thing? Are you going to lie to me and tell me that means?
Yeah. Well, welcome to Hillary Clinton land.
Honesty is fucking the most important.
How many times did you freaking vote for freaking Ted Kennedy? Come tell me about honesty.
I don't think I could vote while he was still in. Oh, maybe I voted for him once, probably.
Yeah, because honesty was important to you, right?
I like Ted Kennedy.
Honesty was important to you. It's a high priority to you. You're lying to yourself. You're delusional.
Well,
so Donald Trump has never. Come on, here's the thing.
Everybody has nothing to do with Donald Trump, does it, memes? It wasn't Donald Trump making this claim. It was you.
Which claim?
The claim that honesty is important to them.
Well, you should tell the truth.
But it didn't stop you from freaking going right down the process and going, I'm going to vote for Ted Kennedy.
So you've never voted for anybody that's ever lied?
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Okay.
We're not talking about a specific lie here and there. We're not talking about that. We're talking about honesty. Overall, would you ever use that word to tell me that overall Ted Kennedy was an honest person?
He was.
Then you're delusional.
For most of the things in his life, he was probably honest. I didn't know the man. Just because I live in Massachusetts doesn't mean I was out there on the old.
Just because he was my representative doesn't mean I was really following what the asshole actually did.
Oh, yeah, those were terrible things. I think I found out about that after I voted for him. I couldn't.
How could you do that if he was your representative?
Oh, because I really wasn't paying attention.
Because honesty was important to you. You would investigate it to make sure that such a person was honest. That integrity was important to you because you would investigate if the integrity was really important to you. But it wasn't. Was it, memes?
Oh, I was busy with other shit.
Yeah,
I think that's a factor that you might be missing out on.
That had a higher priority for you.
As some of us do, it might not be as high as you think, man. That's all I'm saying.
What, your integrity?
Oh, I mean, that's absolutely should be questioned.
Your integrity.
Your sanity as well.
Well, that's not an unfair assessment, and we may have already done these things, but that's okay.
You're certainly a case.
Well, certain times it's like you do things and people don't understand. It's like, do you mind doing this? It's like, sure, okay.
Anyway, back to Trump's foreign policy. You can take a look at how he's more or less handled this. All right. Now, what's going to be the result of this latest thing? All right. There's a couple things about foreign policy that were kind of hinted at. because it's also related to the intel community, right? Because a lot of people are saying, you know, that's kind of like an intermingled kind of a scenario with it, right? Especially recently, where they've been hammering him about not trusting his intel officials, right? But overall, he's been accurate. Overall, his assessment is more on par than what you're hearing, all right, being portrayed from as the opinion, all right, of the intel officials. Now, the reality is that the intel officials, whenever they're speaking, and I think people have seen this already, they parse a lot of their words. And if you do that around the press will sit up there and use it to their advantage as much as possible, and they try to use it as a cudgel against frickin' Trump.
Well, and MC with things like intelligence reports or whatever, he'll read them and he will interpret them. I mean, that's the whole point of the president, right? He gets information from different sources, he reads them, and then comes to a conclusion. That's what every president hopefully does. Now, his interpretation, based on the evidence and the information that's there, and like you said, probably some fairly slack-jawed responses to his question, he's going to come to his own conclusions. That's what he's there for. And he's acting upon his own instincts. Well, I don't know whether it's instincts or whether it's, serious analysis. But like you said, he's doing whichever one it is. I think it's working.
I think it's a bit of. I think it's instinct. Now, granted, it's for lack of a better term, educated instinct. You know, it's not in a vacuum. He's not just going by what his gut tells him on the issue. He is taking it in and saying, okay, this is what I see this actually meaning.
Oh yeah, all right. And he will frame it in his mind in his way as opposed to a professional politician's way. And weirdly enough, his conclusions are probably, best interest. Whose best interest is this? Because everyone's working on their own best interest, right? And he's working at it more from that perspective as opposed to what would normally be the diplomatic or, the professional politician's perspective.
Well, I would say that that's probably an accurate assessment, or an accurate statement. I think that the statements from the intel community to Congress recently, right? What people read into that was they were reading into what they were saying. I don't think that they were listening to what was being told, because if you listen to where the wiggle room was, they were just being generic in how they do it, which is typical of how they approach things. I think that the press took it to the nth degree because they want to take it to the nth degree because they want to use it as and say that President Trump is not listening to the intel people. These are professionals. Well, okay, all that's true to a point, but the reality is that it's not. Yeah, he's not listening to them. He just thinks that his analysis of where they're going to end up is different than what the intel people say. He's reading that their situation, and he's saying, okay, I think that there's a greater chance at it. At no point, all right, did for example, when they were talking about North Korea, at no point did they say that it's impossible for North Korea to disarm. They just said that they're going to be unwilling to denuclearize. Of course, they're unwilling to denuclearize.
Exactly. All right. And therefore, the one thing you do is you go in and negotiate a position whereby they do, and that's what, exactly. I mean, that used to be what diplomacy was. Apparently, now that's business. Fuck knows what diplomacy's for.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure whether or not they understand what diplomacy's for either. Though. Let's be brutally honest.
Pull back all your embassies as well. They're obviously a waste of money. Bring back.
Well, that's true, but overall, you have to give Trump high marks on when it comes to foreign policy, and at least I do. Now, I've made statements that I are intended to do exactly what I know that memes doesn't like, which is turn people off. Like when I rail against the UN, right? They're intended, all right, to get to people to start thinking about what the UN is actually like. And I'm not, and I am serious. I am serious when I say we need to pull out of the UN. I am serious when I say we should start talking about pulling out of NATO.
Well,
Because-
if Donald Trump wanted to expand on his, his issues about, child trafficking or human trafficking, then he could also throw the UN in on that one as well.
Well, the State Department came out with a
Whoa,
report.
whoa. I just thought of something really fun. Hey, MC, I can't call you serious. Are you serious? Shirley. Fuck.
Surely.
God damn it. I fucked that meme up.
You did. You had to say, surely you can't be wrong. Surely you can't be right. That's what you meant to
No,
say.
no, no. Yes, I'm serious, and don't ever call me Shirley.
But
That's
nobody
the
did.
joke. But anyway,
It doesn't work if somebody doesn't say Shirley at some point.
Anyway, the State Department recently put out a report. Do you realize that they estimate every single year that they estimate that 10,000 people are brought into the United States to be sex slaves?
yeah, actually, I did know that, and that is a terrible, terrible percentage.
By the way, that's only a guesswork because obviously you can never know because these
Well,
things
yeah,
aren't
obviously,
going through official paperwork or anything.
No,
Cabbage.
I agree with you there 100%. But it's sad when your own State Department is saying that 10,000 people are being brought into the country to be used as sex slaves.
And what
Into
is
the
that?
United States today,
but-
10,000 people are being brought in a year.
MC, I was going to say at least 10% of Americans, illegal and or illegal, are thrown into the sex trafficking scheme.
I know that
And
they're-
800,000
Those numbers are not
kids a
okay.
year.
God damn it, I was trying to say, those numbers are not okay. I'm not okay with those numbers. Are you okay with those numbers, Cabbage?
Why would anyone be okay with those numbers?
Well, obviously, none of us would. No, that's the problem with the feminist crazy ideology, where they're trying to pretend like all men are rapists. You know what? Some women are rapists, but no, they're not gonna admit that.
No, but it's a sad state of affairs when you start dealing with this kind of situation. Something has to. We have to get better at this. We've got to sit up there I mean, let's be perfectly honest. The State Department isn't trying to do Donald Trump any favors, right?
Yeah, true.
So
yeah, but I mean, I don't think Donald Trump's ever had any. Yeah, I mean, he's not. I'm not sure how the sex trafficking relates, like with regards to Donald Trump, apart from him trying to stop it with regards to the border.
Well, because he has made an issue of it. He has made a point of identifying this several times. All right, throughout the last 2 years, Donald Trump has brought this up more than 5 times, saying, "Look, sex trafficking into the United States has to stop." And from a foreign policy perspective, we got absolutely very little response. I mean,
but that's what I mean. That's one of the reasons I was saying before. That I mean, he made that as part of the reason why he wants to protect, the borders, so these people can't be, trafficked and everything else. I mean, he's appealing to the normal people. It's like, I mean, and then when people say we're not going to give you the funding, it's they decide that they're going to continue with the shutdown because they're just acting like pissy little bitches. He's going to say fine, and people are going to say, well, hang on. It's about the child sex trafficking. It's about this. It's about that. And they know what he was talking about. The reasons as justifications for the war, and they weren't about being a xenophobe, and they weren't about being racist or isolationist.
Well, yeah, exactly. And you guys in the UK, Cabbage,
Gentlemen,
you fucked with a lot.
Guys, please. We've had a Streamlabs donation by Jez Oldfield.
Hey, Jezza. Good man. What was the tagline on it? Did he not tag it?
Yep, been away for a few weeks. Good to be back.
Welcome back. Glad you liked the show. Too bad Mad Dodge isn't here to abuse. I could only abuse memes. He had to take the brunt of it today.
Please
MC,
carry
you
on.
can,
Just wants to read that out.
you can give me shit anytime, bro.
Yeah, but you're not silent. You're too silent most of the times. You don't try to engage like Memes does.
Nuts. Hey, then again, I'm not a liberal like Meme.
I don't even think that Memes really is a liberal in the way that he presents it. He just
Wait,
wants to be
where
a
is Memes?
contrarian to get a reaction out of people. That's all he does. He just acts like a contrarian to get a reaction. That's his shtick.
I want to read a post by Amanda. Amanda Wolfchild says 70 to 75% of the kids whose ages are out of foster care are sold into sex trafficking within a year.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I mean, remember what happened with that? What was it? Kidstown and all that. What was it? Childtown, Kidstown.
Hey, by the way, hello, Amanda. You are awesome. I like her. Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
We are 6 degrees of separation. She grew up in a town close to the town I grew up in. So yes.
Just don't get too close. She's got blades. She knows how to use them.
Hell yeah.
How are you doing, Amanda? Long time no see, darling.
So, but no, overall, when it came to the State of the Union, and Trump is starting to talk about foreign policy success. Now, one of the things about foreign policy that people have to understand, all right, is foreign policy is strictly the purview of the President of the United States. All right, within the United States, our foreign policy is almost 100% determined by the President. Okay, now there are certain things such as ratification of treaties which are left up for the country, but overall, all right, the President runs foreign policy. And if Trump was as bad at foreign policy as everybody thinks he is, we wouldn't have got the changes to TPP. We wouldn't have got the changes to NAFTA. We are now in a trade war with China. That's true, but overall, it doesn't seem to be having a negative effect on us.
Well, hold on, MC. Is it that we are in a new trade war with China, or is it
he upped the number of things that are going to be tariffed.
Well, no, Cabbage. MC is right. We are in a new era of the whole 9 yards. God damn it.
It'd be just renegotiating contracts. I mean, it's like we're going to be doing with Europe, hopefully. We get a fucking thing to that. We're going to be doing exactly the same thing. It's just what countries do. When they're independent, you make deals with other countries. You say, well, you've got steel, we've got coal. Hey, how about swaps? Do some swapsies. I mean, people work with what they've got, right? Their resources and their, their capability, their production capabilities.
Oh, hey,
good old-fashioned capitalism.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Cabbage.
No, you did.
I know I did. I'm a dick. But is anybody saying anything in chat that is worth a comment?
I don't know. I can't see chat.
Oh, what he's saying is we should actively engage and respond with our audience.
That's what Jensen's here for.
So he's not doing. He's
yes, but he's meant to be. That's one of the shut up, me. It's one of the responsibilities.
Shirts available now.
Is to keep track of these things. Yeah. I'll go.
So anyway, can you guys? I got to step away for just a second. I'll be right back, guys.
All right, mate.
What I would say is, I think a lot of time we've been in a trade war with China. It's just up until now we're really starting to fight back.
Well, it's not really been. I wouldn't say it'd been a war. It was just a sort of an exchange.
He campaigned
a negative exchange
on like 35% to 50% trade tariffs on China. He's like, well, I only save it. He's like, well, I say like 15, 25, or 35 or 45 for people that are really just out there and stuff. But Donald Trump has done that for deals in the past. It plays into who Donald Trump is. There are many people that don't like President Trump, but here's the thing. They're familiar with him. Who do you trust?
That's what I'm saying. Memes, this is what I was saying.
Nancy Pelosi, who for a lot of the country.
Memes, shut up,
that disagree with Donald Trump.
We're going to have to build more T-shirts. Shut the fuck up.
You're gonna buy them all?
Yeah, okay. Okay, the last one's going to be fuck off and die. All right? That's the last T-shirt.
Okay. Are they
You're
yelling at you
withdrawing
again?
your likeness? That's a terrible thing to do. Every one of those learned to code shirts.
And I'm telling you, I
That's
don't
high
mind
interest. At least two
Yeah.
people.
Whatever. You babbling fucking retard.
2 is more than 0.
Yes, it is. Well done. Well done, you.
MC,
Okay.
is that a true statement?
But with regards to the, the trade agreements which are going on, this is exactly the reason that people have got problems with Theresa May, and they've got problems with Merkel, and all of these other ones. In France, they got all this shit because these people don't know how to balance a book. They don't know how to work any numbers. They really don't pay attention to it because professional politicians do not perceive actual ownership of money. They just see themselves as a siphon for it.
Would that be a problem?
I mean, it's just numbers to them. Of course, it's a fucking problem for the society because if they just think they can piss it away on anything they want, on one of their pet projects or this or that or the other, what Trump is actually doing is what he said: "Make America Great Again." He's focused on the areas where the American economy can regain its traction again.
Well, yeah, he's rehashing right.
That's an achievement. That is something which is going to reap rewards, not just, that's a long-term project. That's almost like, who was the guy who had the 5-year plan or whatever it was, and, the road building fella. This is the same kind of thing that he's doing.
I think one of the sad things is, and I'm curious what you guys think, but if Trump is kind of trying to do the whole Reagan thing, because he even pretty much stole the whole "Make America Great." It's like, all right, make America great again. We're doing volume 2. It's like, and then you look at Trump and he's like, all right, you see the hair. He is not Ronald Reagan, though. He's coming at it from a completely different angle, but he exerts a very strong status. It is authoritarian.
Yes, but don't forget as well, he's coming from the same sort of sphere, which is entertainment in a way, right? Because Reagan was.
I know. If it was somebody else trying to do what he did, I think he's more likely to pull it off because he is who he is, and that's a sad thing to say.
It was like last night. He played that audience. You see how he was working the podium and he was like doing this, Robert and Pelosi thought it was funny, like he was making an ass of himself or whatever. But she didn't see the optic of actually how it worked when it was in the camera. It just sort of like, and he was.
Well, Trump watched Comedy Central. He watched The Daily Show. He's doing the subtle jab. Like when he's giving them benevolence and stuff like that. It's like, yes, it's 58% of one. He's doing it in an entertaining fashion. And like, that's something that's going to stick on people's minds. It's like, all right, he is Hitler is what I'm hearing. Like I said, but these are actual numbers. And yeah,
and these are the memes which are being created. And these are things which are going to be there. And people will go back to when it comes to, the election in 2020. He's laying
it's worse. He doesn't give them a choice. He tweets it. He tweets it so people have to talk about it to make money.
Exactly. He's mining the feed.
Okay, so apparently something happened to Cabbage.
Another bird on the line. So a car hit it before.
You sure he's not in the backyard trying to start the generator again? Kind of like a lawnmower, trying to stay warm.
Oh, thought he had a wood stove.
Oh, is that what it was?
Oh, I have no idea, dude. Some of those wall pellets stoves, they throw a lot of heat, but you need that wood pellets.
He uses a wood stove to start it the old-fashioned way, right, with tube receivers and so forth.
Well, yeah, he needs to light his cigarettes somehow.
But okay, back to the State of the Union. All right, I think we talked about pretty much everything except for the one thing that's been, staring everybody in the face, which is the press's reaction. All right, memes, describe, in your opinion, the press's reaction to the State of the Union.
I haven't looked. I heard CNN was slightly in awe. I have no idea. What are they going to say? We are sad. Oh no, what did they say? Something like, well, no, there were higher percentages of women in the workforce before. It's like, oh yeah, during World War II, I think everyone was contributing. So it's what are you going to say? You have to move on to something else if you're trying to get the guy. Otherwise, you got to acknowledge maybe he's actually trying to make a deal, because Donald Trump is not known for actually making deals.
Well, I think one of the things that the press was doing more than anything else, right, is they came out with, well, first of all, initially, like was pointed out by Mad Dodge, all right, they were basically talking about racism, and trying to draw an inference, all right, to Trump and racism before the State of the Union even took place.
That seems like a terrible idea.
Okay, well,
because what happens if people Google racist right now? What do you think they're going to find? There might be a couple of Trump things there, but I think the majority is, what's more offensive, the Cheeto Führer or your governor dressed in blackface or as a Klan member?
Well,
Big D
I'm
there.
sure that's
Big
a
D
problem.
there.
I'm sure that is a problem for them, but I think that the
Isn't the Attorney General, who's also a big D, recently has come out and admitted, yeah, there are some photos and I did some stuff and MC, with the internet, and I really do think, like you were saying, it's like that bill that they were bringing to the floor, there seemed to be a lot of concerned citizens, or maybe some folks that maybe were aware of some things that are coming forward right now. So that's the governor, and then you have these allegations, I think, have now officially been filed, perhaps, or have been given to somebody. I heard an update, but at this point, it's like those are three big Ds.
Well, that's Virginia. Is it important?
I mean, I like D's, but it's like there's some serious shit here.
Well, they're affecting the state of Virginia, and the state of Virginia, because of its location next to obviously D.C., it ends up bleeding over into a lot of the national politics. You're right about that, right? But when it comes to the State of the Union and what the press was doing, I think the press believed their own hype. I think that just like Chuck Schumer talking about what was going to happen in the press, what was going to happen at the State of the Union without even knowing what was in it, right? He was already commenting on it. And so they fell back to an old but goodie, which is, well, Trump's lying, so we're going to start counting the lies. And so their first impression, their first blush, all right, after the State of the Union and they got over the shock of how well it was working, they said, okay, well, we need to fact check everything. And every single one of these major news agencies went out there to quote unquote fact check Trump.
Well, didn't they make, wasn't there a future fact check? They actually projected one for the future where they said he won't agree to the AACP or something. Yeah, like
exactly.
That. I think that's from Vegas.
They were so desperate. Yeah. They were desperate. I mean, you could tell that they were desperate to put a negative spin on this in some way, shape, or form. And you're right, Cabbage. They did. They actually said, well, he wouldn't do this. He says he would do it, but that's a lie. We know he wouldn't.
To quote a famous reality star, sad.
It was pathetic, and it will be interesting to see how they're able to spin this over time. But this was very negative by the press, but in an attempt to say, well, we're going to talk about him lying and so forth, and then to pull out things saying, well, he didn't lie here, but.
The issue you run into, MC, is whoever starts attacking him from that front, there is now actually an apparatus that can actually communicate data out there to the president himself saying, oh, so all the folks that said this, you want to see all the lies that they've had over the years? Let's do a count. It's a tactic that it's Saul Lewinsky's Rule 4. It's like your own rules are being used against you. I mean, just look at what's going on in Virginia, man. It's like you're saying the president's a Nazi. Well, to be fair, I've seen him in orange face, but yeah. When I look up racist things right now, this looks pretty terrible. And this guy's still in office. Oh, this isn't going away.
Well, do you think that that I realize that we're pivoting a bit off of the State of the Union, but do you think that the governor of Virginia is going to resign?
I don't think he's going to last, man. They might maybe they'll do the whole what was it over in California, the governor that they recalled. Oh, Gray Davis. Do you think that'll happen if he tries to be defiant? Do you think they could remove him?
Could they? I don't know anything about the state of Virginia.
Was Gray Davis Gray Davis was a Democrat, right? Or
Gray Davis was a Democrat, yes.
Oh.
And yes, he did get recalled. Yes, they did force a vote and force him out of office. That is very true. All right. However, I don't know if that's going to be the case here. I personally think that this guy is hunkering down for the long haul, and he's saying, "No, I'm not going to resign." And the allegations,
the Appalachia Trail. No, excuse me, the South American Andes Trail. Wait, was he also from Virginia?
No, that was not North Carolina. That was North Carolina. Yes. Okay. That was the governor of North Carolina, and he was on a little escapade with his mistress and got called out for it.
Well, I mean, I heard they were soulmates, so. But then again, well, I mean, you're married, you have kids, you kind of have some.
When your soulmate's not your wife, and you're in a foreign country,
problematic, very problematic.
Memes has a problem with the idea that monogamy, right?
Well, that's biology, and it's a bitch. But now that was Sanford. Now, was he a Republican or was he a Democrat?
No, okay, he was a Republican.
Oh, see, that's the thing. It's like, all right. MC, when I say the whole talks on both houses, you gotta be fair, and there are different aspects of it. I will agree that there are different aspects and there are different factors. I'm saying certain factors.
All right, so
that's why I say the truth is important.
Let's compare things.
We all do stupid shit.
Okay, we all do stupid stuff. All right, let's compare things. The governor of Sanford was cheating on his wife down in Argentina. Are you telling me that that's the same as dancing around with blackface while you hug somebody in a Ku Klux Klan outfit?
Is it?
Well, depends where you do it. I mean,
is that your equivalency?
It's all about
well, no, MC. I'm curious. No, I'm curious what you actually think, because if depending on who you ask, you may get a different thing. Because to be fair, didn't he break the contract of marriage? To be fair, as obscene as what the governor of Virginia, I forget his name.
See, he breaks a contract with a single individual.
Is it racist? Yes. Was it illegal at the time?
Well, but
is what illegal? Is what illegal? Is putting blackface on illegal? No, it's not. No, but neither was cheating on his wife down in Argentina either. So that's a non sequitur.
Didn't he actually have marriage vows and stuff? Isn't that a violation? Couldn't his wife actually?
That's not a law. That is not a law.
Is it?
Memes. No, that is not a law. Memes
in Virginia,
because religion is not allowed to enter the law. You have a separation
now,
of church and state.
People could say that wearing a hood in a KKK rally is illegal because hoods aren't allowed. Whether it's an Antifa trying to cover their face or a KKK hood.
Are you comparing a hat to cheating on your wife?
I'm asking you because that's what it sounds like you're drawing the equivalency.
No, because that's just what I heard. Is the thing. They're both not good things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, one is fucking racist. What's the other?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second, because should be quiet, Cabbage, because I need to finish something.
Fuck be quiet. I barely said fucking thing. Jesus,
all right, just a second here, because I want to talk about something specific here. You're saying that cheating on your wife is a horrible thing, and you should be removed as a president, or as an executive office. Is that what you're saying?
No, the public already looked at that, and they obviously didn't really seem to care.
They didn't? Oh, but they cared about Sanford. You want to tell me what the difference was?
It was a wild, hot sex story in South America.
And it wasn't a wild, hot sex story in the White House?
Oh, I heard DC can get kind of cold.
Mm-hmm. Answer the question, Memes. What was the difference?
Oh, it was Bill Clinton.
Okay. What did Bill Clinton have working for him?
Charisma. He was
No.
also a Democrat.
The press.
Oh, that probably helped as well. He was a likable guy.
Probably helped as well.
He was in the intro to Animaniacs, and not just for a short time, literally the whole fucking time. And the Clinton plays the sax. You don't think growing up seeing Bill Clinton, literally with a couple of your favorite cartoon characters popping out of his saxophone as he's playing it, doesn't portray him as being a cool dude?
And so how does that in any way, shape, or form?
Oh, I voted for him in the 6th grade.
Change anything?
No. What I'm trying to point out to you is the
class.
power of the press. Now, this is why with the Virginia guy, right? The governor of Virginia at the moment, Northam, right? The question is whether or not he's forced out or he's forced to resign. Now, personally, I don't know if he's gonna survive or not. It looks to me as if he's trying to batten down the hatches and that he has no intention of resigning. Now, a lot of that has to do with the other fire that's going on because the lieutenant governor, all right, has been accused of being of sexually assaulting a woman who today came out and gave her allegations, although quote unquote the Washington Post supposedly looked at the allegations, and since they haven't seen anything that appears to corroborate her evidence, they've kept it quiet for over a year.
But MC, he also denied it.
Well, yeah, he denied it. But see, we're going to keep it quiet because we know that we have to believe her, right? The Pound Me Too movement and all. I mean, Kavanaugh, did they keep that quiet?
Oh, wait a second.
Yeah, that went on for quite a while. Yeah. Well, no, they kept that quiet.
Well, one is the Supreme Court.
30 years.
All right.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If this depends what standard we set. If the Kavanaugh's the standard, we're gonna have to explain what spoofing is in the yearbook.
NPC.
You're being asked to explain fart jokes from 40 years ago. Or maybe like 30 so.
Means you're not programmed for anything beyond the NPC.
Now,
okay?
I have said this on my stream.
One shtick.
I have said this on my stream before, right? I remember very clearly, right, the mid 1980s. Okay, I was already an adult. I was already in the Army. All right. There were people that absolutely were reacting to the popularity of Michael Jackson about how quote unquote overrated he was. And as a result, there were anti-Michael Jackson parties that were all the rage at the time. People would have a party to make sure that no Michael Jackson records were shown, or they were going to have a Michael Jackson record breaking kind of thing.
Okay. Where did he touch you, MC?
No, I'm not. I'm just telling you what was going on back then.
So there was a community of folks that basically didn't like Michael Jackson.
It was like book burning and bullshit. It's a book.
Well, it was giving people a reason to party. It was giving people a reason to party that was going on. Now, I don't know if this guy...
the Salem witch trials.
Parties. Well, no, but I don't know if this was one of the parties that they were doing that kind of stuff. All right, where it got into an absolutely outrageous mode. But when you talk about college kids on college campi, it wouldn't surprise me if that was the quote-unquote theme of the party they were having. All right, now, do I think that makes you a racist? Well, not really. But then again, is it something stupid to do? Yeah, it's something stupid. But in today's climate, is doing something stupid going to kill your freaking career? Something you did stupidly 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Is it going to come back to haunt you?
That's why we have a royal family. See, I mean, Harry can go up. I mean, you can't knock his career. He can't. He's not allowed to be sacked. So,
what do you mean he's not allowed to be stacked? What does that mean?
Well, he can't be. Right? I mean, he can do his. Yeah, he can do a Nazi, and then people go, naughty boy. And then
he also
everyone
served.
forgets about it. Oh, he did. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, never in any particular danger, of course. But.
Well, he would have if it wasn't for your press.
Well, if you're in certain planes or helicopters, those things can also crash. Oh, I've been
yes.
We've had some crashing over here.
He was on his way to deploy to Afghanistan when your press outed that fact, and they couldn't send him then.
Yes, but even if he had been there, he would never.
Oh no, they would have given him special freaking privileges. I don't deny that, but at the same time, he at least is going into a combat zone, a live fire combat zone.
No, and Prince Andrew did the same thing during the Falklands. You know, he was on what was the ship? Anyway, he was in one of the frigates.
So I mean, I at least gave Harry a little bit of freaking credit for that. He was not willing to if his people were being deployed, if his unit was being deployed, he had every intention to leave.
Well, also he is part German, so it's hardly like it's it's not misappropriation of culture, is it?
So
well, I mean,
dressed in ancestral garb. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, okay, if we can forgive Prince Harry for being a Nazi because he served, if Governor Northam also served, can we forgive him for dressing up in blackface or a Klan uniform?
Well, I don't know if that was. Let's be honest. Was the reason that this thing outed because of his statements of killing infants?
Oh,
because
probably.
he was making the statement to kill infants, so that somebody said, "Okay, I've had enough of you. We're going to sit up there and
what
call you a
would
racist."
Drive a person that hasn't mentioned this the whole time to be like, "Oh yeah, I bought that yearbook. I spent the obscene amount of money for that," and sure, ask a friend. Insert Yosemite Sam.
Yeah, but anyway, wasn't it? He was meant to be one or the other. I mean, that was the whole point, right? So, as you say, if it was blackface, I mean, the context.
Okay, if he's blackface is one thing, but when you're sitting there walking around, even in a college with a freaking KKK hat, all right, when people are dressing up in KKK uniforms, look, it hasn't been okay to dress up in a KKK thing since the 1960s. Okay.
Well, yeah, but it hasn't been right to dress up as a fucking Nazi since 1945. So, you know what I mean?
Good point. Okay, you're right. I'll give you that. You do have a good point.
But what was the context in which it was done? Like I said, though, I mean, if it was KKK, I mean, one context, blackface, another one. I mean, people do like. You do skits or something like that. I mean, did he actually even explain which one he did? Which one he is?
He has said that he was in blackface several times. All right, I mean that's the reality.
Why? But has he said why he was in blackface?
No, he said it's been a party.
No, he also never specified. So it's like, wait, are you leveraging that it's better to be in the Klan uniform next to a person in blackface putting your arm around them, or was the black? That seemed like a very political thing to say.
Well, no, what he has said is that he has dressed up in blackface. He has actually denied that he is in either one. He is in that specific photo that you're talking about. However, there were other photos of him in blackface, all right, with it throughout that freaking yearbook, apparently. Apparently that was a well-known thing.
Photo. Let me ask you this. Was he the only one?
In the photo? Yes. Obviously not.
In the yearbook?
Well, no, the only one.
No, obviously not.
No, the only one. No, the only one doing blackface. So there was other people doing blackface.
Well, he could just say he was taking the photo. Although I'm not sure that really helps his case. I don't know. Does it? I mean, look at.
Hey, no. At least he can say, "Look."
He wanted to come back on those folks to say how racist they were.
Peer pressure.
Backfired.
It was peer pressure, or it was like part of a singing group or something. They would. I mean, and how long ago was
he could have tried to say.
It's almost like Kavanaugh, right? It's almost like Kavanaugh.
But
I mean, people do shit back. 30 years
everybody
ago,
does stupid shit. That's why That's why I'm like, all right, is this?
And also, fuck, I can show you. The guy who plays House. Right,
Hugh Laurie.
Sorry.
Yeah, the state of Virginia right now is getting hammered for everything because you got there are three of their most high profile political offices now embroiled in major scandals.
Oh shit! Frank Underwood got he released their files.
Who's Frank Underwood and which
Yeah,
file?
that was
talking
Kevin
shit,
Spacey's
he's talking TV.
character from Netflix House of Cards. He
Oh.
literally had files on pretty much everyone except one person in Congress.
But the thing is, I mean, does this really impact on most people's lives? I mean, I know that people will have to drop and things like that, but these are the sort of things which are pretty relevant. That's why, like I said, that's why Harry, as long as the press doesn't preoccupy themselves with it, all you need is another story slightly more interesting. You know,
Oh no, this is gonna
burn down an orphanage, you'll be fine, right? Distract the press.
Has a major effect. Believe it or not, this has a major effect because it's Virginia, all right, and where Virginia sits in the political sphere. Virginia is a very important state politically, all right, because of what is in Virginia. Well, technically, the Pentagon is in Virginia. Technically, Langley is in Virginia. Okay, D.C. sits right outside of Virginia, right? A lot of the people constantly live in Virginia actually work in D.C. So this all boils and roils this entire area, all right, because it's part of the D.C. corridor, Richmond corridor area.
So he's part of the D.C. overflow of racists.
Well, and that's exactly what's happening now, is that this is having a major effect on the Democrat Party because the Democrats are the ones embroiled in these scandals after pontificating for so long about how evil Trump has been and been sitting on this kind of stuff for a long time. That's why this is having such a much wider effect on the grander game that we're dealing with. Go ahead.
Here's the thing, MC. It's like some may make the argument that, well, you have this Democratic lieutenant governor who there was a story that potentially could have got traction, but they decided there wasn't enough evidence and they would just let it go and just sit on it rather than publish it before him getting in. However, with Donald Trump, aside from, was it the Central Park 5 and stuff, who I think there was a bunch of young black youths there that ended up, I think, did they get off or did they get convicted? Because Donald Trump did take out a full page ad, but would it have mattered the race of those particular people? Because there was an absolutely horrific crime there, at least allegedly there was. But all right, so you're saying Donald Trump is a racist. You have a paper.
No, he didn't say that at all. He didn't say that. Oh, fuck off with you. So you're saying. Hey, but Bear, how you doing? Hello, my favorite lesbian.
Hey, what's up? Everybody's talking about Virginia, and I'm like, hey, I live here.
Yeah. There you go.
So why don't you describe how this whole revelations that are coming fast and furious from your state are affecting things?
I don't fucking know. All I know is that Mike Pence is fucking up the interstate for me. Like, the interstate was at a goddamn stance. It was a parking lot, right? Because they gotta make sure that, you know, nothing happens to him. So they shut down the interstate. They shut down every street going to the airport. People were on the interstate for like 3 hours. Like, what the fuck? Get out of my town. I need to do stuff.
How to make friends and influence people.
But with like Governor Northam or whatever, like, you've got Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Libertarians coming out and saying, you need to resign. Guess what? He's going to resign. I will resign? Yeah, I will bet my house that he's going to resign. And that lieutenant governor, that fucking nigger or whatever.
I tried to get him to take bets, but he's not on. He's not up for it.
But that nigger's going to resign too, and we're going to have a special election. I'll put money on that as well.
What about the recent revelations of your attorney general?
Yeah, that's the nigger I'm talking about.
No. That's the attorney general's the third one.
Wait, who's the black guy? Okay, who's the black guy?
That's your lieutenant governor.
Okay, he's the one with the sexual assault, right?
That is correct.
Okay, he's going to go bye-bye too.
All right. Well, your attorney general just came out and said, yeah, there's pictures of me doing blackface.
Oh, yeah, Mark Herring, right?
Yes.
That was just...
I'm telling you, Virginia is a party place.
Dude, Virginia was... We had...
You guys are into some weird shit.
We still have the KKK here. We still have Hell's Angels and all that other shit here.
I want to party with you.
I mean, when I was going to high school, we used to get flyers from the KKK. No shit. So they're here. I mean, there's no denying it. People are fucking stupid if they deny it. And the whole blackface thing, I don't give a shit. Obviously, I don't fucking care. But when you have both, like all four political parties really pressuring you to step down, you're gonna step down. It's inevitable.
When the bong riders start coming out for away from their weed.
I mean, yeah.
Get away from their life.
Yeah, when they're
and yes, Mad Dodge, I'm talking about libertarians when I call them bong riders.
No, for real. When they get off their bongs, there's a problem here. I personally don't give a shit.
Ride low, get it. I'm butchering too much music. Sorry, we're gonna get a content strike because I just killed the music.
But I'm not so sure that he's going to resign.
He's going to resign.
I think he's going to try and hold out. I mean, what press?
He can hold out as long as he wants to, but in the end, he's going to resign because he's a pussy.
MC, was there any number on the quantity of photos of him in blackface?
2.
I don't know how many are.
I think there are only 2.
We know of 2. What if there were a few more?
I don't care.
Or several dozen.
How would it make it any better or any worse at this
point? It's the slow drip of, oh, here's this again.
Well, let me ask you a different question for me, Wolfshot. Do you have the ability to recall one of your state officials if he refuses to resign?
Yes, I believe we do.
Okay, so you would have to go through a process of starting. I assume that initially it would be so many signatures have to be gathered, and then
no, I don't even know if we can do that. We don't even have referendums in this state.
Okay, but you do. I'm sure you have an impeachment process within your.
Mm-hmm.
So most likely would have to go through the impeachment process through your state office, right?
Yeah, the NAACP or the SPLC is going to sue him, and
but has he committed a crime? Like again, what he did
memes.
It was fucking racist and offensive, but did he commit a crime?
Memes.
To impeach somebody, you need a crime. He could be recalled, but I'm just following the law. I'm not saying I agree with the law. I'm just saying this is the law, I think.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. But when the SPLC and the NAACP and every other fucking acronym gets involved and starts suing you civilly, he's going to resign. He's going to run out of money. And the people in Virginia are going to be tired of it.
To be racist.
No, I'm racist. Fuck niggers. There. Mad Dog, you're demonetized forever.
The algorithm just went wow, wow, wow.
Actually, I hate everybody. I'm not really racist. I just hate everyone. Anyway,
you identify as a racist.
Bitter girl.
I don't fucking care. I don't think words or blackface or whatever the fuck. It doesn't matter as long as he's doing his job.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Well, can he do his job now, though?
No, absolutely not. That's why I said he's going to be pressured from everything, and he's going to resign because he's a pussy. He's not going to stand by his convictions and be like, well, I'm sorry, it was a long time ago, but I'm still going to sit here and do my job. No, he's going to cave. I promise. If Democrats...
That's why you never say sorry.
Well, he did apologize. He did apologize. And Democrats are notorious for being pussies. I hate to say it. Yeah. It's absolutely true.
And they eat their own as well. You know.
Well, he's not Donald Trump.
What?
He has to stand by his convictions. That's one thing I think both parties have a problem with, is standing by their convictions. I mean, at least with George W. Bush, he's like, mission well done. Yeah, not really, but you're standing by your convictions. Good for you. I can respect that about someone, but this guy, I hope he stands by his convictions, but I really don't see it.
Would you support him for stay if he does decide to stay? Would you support him for it?
I didn't support him to begin with, but I don't.
Well, you understand my point. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I can respect a man for standing by his convictions. Yes, I will respect that. But honestly, I really think that he's going to be like, oh, fuck it, I give up. Just like the rest of them.
You know, would it be the best thing for him? Best thing he could do is to come out and do a press conference in blackface.
I'd laugh my ass off. I'd be like, yes!
Just, I mean, that's not doubling
Do
down.
it.
That's like
Do it.
tripling.
Fucking do it. I would, dude. If he does that, I would vote for him. For real, I would vote for that motherfucker if he did that. But no, I mean,
you won't be complaining about his balls anymore, will you? You won't be calling him a pussy.
He won't be a pussy then, dude.
I'll tell you. Think about the press coverage. So, yeah, okay. You want to?
Well,
I mean, Virginia.
Press coverage after his funeral.
I mean, Virginia right now is pretty much like, you're a racist piece of shit. Give up. That's pretty much what we're saying. What, not me, but what Virginians are saying. You're a racist. Get out. You sexually assaulted that woman or whatever the fuck. Get out. That's pretty much it.
Well, how long do you think he'll hang on?
Well, as soon as the SPLC or the NAACP or the fuck me in the asshole brigade comes and sues his ass civilly, yeah, he'll be done by then.
Well, I mean,
what
could they sue him for?
I have no idea what they could. I don't know. Racial defamation of. I don't know, man.
Years ago?
They do it all the time.
Wow, a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah, I can't see what they would actually try and launch a lawsuit on him for.
But there have been dumber things.
There might be a recall effort started. I can see why they might in your legislature start an impeachment type of process.
Well, that's what I think. I mean, if he's not sued civilly by one of the letter corporation or whatever the fuck I just said, then there's going to be a huge push by voters, us, to get him out of there, and the House of Burgesses or whatever the fuck is going to have to do something.
Did you say there was a House of Burgers?
Burgesses, you fucking fuck.
Touche.
That's what we still call it that, yeah.
You don't call it a legislature?
Well, House of Burgesses, fucking whatever, man. That's what we call it still. Stop making fun of my state. Stop making fun of my state.
No. I was gonna point this out. Each state has its own, peculiarities. For example, when I grew up, my family comes from Nebraska, and Nebraska is the only state in the union where we don't have a two-house legislature. We have a unicameral.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
It's a unicameral.
A unicamera?
We're
vote on their own. If you're a little droid there, like raising its hand, aye, sir.
Unicameral. No, it's not a. It's not a unibrow like what I have.
Like we have a Commonwealth. Well, Commonwealths are fucking weird. We're weird.
Oh yeah, I'm one of those.
Yeah. You're weird. You're right about that.
I mean, we're fucking.
You didn't miss the train on that one. I'll give you credit for that.
Oh no, in the Commonwealth.
Commonwealths are fucking weird. They're weird. Fucking.
Okay, well, let me ask you a different question. That I kind of asked a little bit earlier. Because Virginia is so close to DC and everything, how do you think that affects the politics going on within DC? Do you think it has any effect at all?
Like, are you asking if Donald Trump gives a shit about what's happening in Virginia?
Well, if the overall press has a caring about what goes on in Virginia,
I think locally, I watch a lot of local news, and locally, it's been like every fucking day. Oh my god, blackface! But mainstream media wise, it doesn't seem to be like so prevalent, I guess. I don't know, man. It was trending on Twitter too, though. That's the other thing. Social media has been trending this like no one's business.
I would agree with that.
Well, this Halloween, everyone's going to be out.
So with DC, I mean, I think Donald Trump should care about what's happening because Virginia, regardless of how it's voted for the past elections, it's still a swing state. It's become a swing state.
Well, let me ask a different question then. I assume that you at least heard about the State of the Union if you didn't watch it.
Yeah, a lot of women in white. And something about stuff. I don't know. I fell asleep. What do you want from me?
So it didn't have any real effect on you one way or the other?
Well, you remember, Wolfie, because I said I missed the bigly. There's no There wasn't a single bigly in the whole speech.
Oh man, that sucks.
I know. It's very disappointing.
I mean, I thought he spoke eloquently, if I could fucking talk.
Like you are.
I think, I mean, it was a State of the Union. I don't know, like, it was there. It happened.
Do you normally pay attention to this shit a whole lot?
Like this, like State of the Unions and stuff. I mean, I get the highlights.
But no, like how about like like the news in general? I know you're kind of a bit of a news junkie, but you got like your full other life outside of here.
Oh, I mainly listen to local news. To be honest, I don't watch mainstream media, Fox or CNN or anything like that. I don't really do that.
That's fair.
Right.
I feel that
which is why I asked for this thing, because then we can get an impression from somebody who's not a quote unquote news junkie like I am.
Well, like here, the local news, like I said, has been covering this blackface shit for, it seems like, an eternity, even though it's been like a week or a couple days. I don't even know. But it feels like every fucking news segment is about this governor and then this other black guy who's like, I'm sexually assaulting women or not or whatever. It's a pain in my ass. It's like, I don't care, bitch. Tell me about the weather. It's like either impeach him or...
At this point in time, you don't see any signs of it letting up until he leaves.
Absolutely. No, they're not going to... They are not going to let this go. Absolutely not. They're going to see this through to the end. And he's going to resign.
That's the end game. He resigns.
Oh yeah. He's like I said, you've got major Republicans and major Democrats saying, you need to resign. You're not going to be able to get jack shit done unless you resign. And even then, his political career here, at least, is fucked. But then on the news yesterday...
He could move to Jamaica.
I mean, he could. They were talking about EVMS, which is the college with the yearbook, where the yearbook was.
Right.
And they were condemning, well, why were these pictures published in the yearbook? And EVMS didn't really give a
good answer.
Yeah, pretty much. They were just like, we just published it.
We thought it was funny at the time.
I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Well, what else is there? You know,
that is one of the things that I do find a bit disturbing more than normal about this. All right, people doing stupid things at a party, yeah, but I've never been, unlike many of you guys, I've never been one of these people who gives benefit of the doubt to college people, because if you're in college, you're already an adult. All right, you should be expected to act like an adult. I'm not saying that it's people don't act stupidly, all right, especially when they go to college. I'm not saying that at all, but I expect you to be held to account for your actions when you're an adult far more than if you're in high school.
Yeah, but there's a big difference there, MC, because you can't possibly project what the social dynamics are and the social, the way in which anything's going to be taken in the future. There's no way of doing that. So, well, I mean, anything you do when you're 18. Well,
but blackface, the damage from blackface and the negativity to blackface were well known during that time frame. I mean, this is not a new. This would have been a scandal if it came out in the.
But the thing was, when it was done, it wasn't a threat to any future, career that he thought.
No, it would have been. Oh no! I disagree with you entirely. If somebody had done blackface, your career as a politician would definitely be over.
Wait, Tony Danza.
All right, now that's a good question, because Tony Danza did this. All right, at about the same time.
Yeah.
Tony Danza. All right, caught so much hell. Initially, Whoopi Goldberg, who was his girlfriend at the time.
I was about to say they were dating.
All right, she was laughing about it because, for anybody who doesn't know what happened here, let me give a little bit of background. There was a celebrity roast of Whoopi Goldberg, and her boyfriend at the time was Tony Danza. All right, the guy from Cheers.
The white dude, yeah.
The white dude from Cheers. Okay. Yeah. He came out on the roast in blackface. All right.
Oh yeah,
All
dressed
right.
like
And
Sambo.
and she of course was laughing it up and everything else. She was called onto the carpet, and he was called onto the carpet and had to sit up there and apologize repeatedly for coming out. All right. That next for the next 2 weeks. And what's more is he had a number of Hollywood contracts canceled because of it. All right.
Yeah.
So it did have, it was.
But that was an immediate response. I'm talking about the idea that you go to college and you go to a party dressed up in a stupid Halloween costume or whatever it happens to be, and then 30 years later you're held to account for it. There's no way that I mean, as mature as you might think that a college person is, that they are not going to have that level of projection to the future, malaise of the...
To an extent, I agree with you in that whatever's been done in the past now, I mean, cameras are so ubiquitous, all right? They're such a part of everybody's life now that anything that you do is caught on camera. But
this isn't, but he's not from that era, right?
No, I understand that.
Okay, that was caught on...
And I agree with you. I agree with you. That's why I brought it up. From that standpoint, I agree with you because I mean, how long ago was that? Were you expecting technology to change to that regard? So from that standpoint, I would agree with you.
Much not even the technology.
But to say that what he did,
the social kind of perspectives and things, and the kind of like the significance
of people
place.
I think you also have to come back and understand the problem. I think in this case has to come out with, okay, yeah, this happened, all right, but he didn't, in the way he came out, what was, let's be honest, weak. He did not come out and go, look, it was something in college, I'm sorry it happened, it won't happen again. That's not what he said. He came out with, well, there's things that happened in the past, and he kind of tried to walk some kind of middle ground with it. And I think that's another reason why people got so upset. Now, am I wrong about that, Wilshire?
I mean, he apologized for what he did, but he said that I'm not going to resign over it. So, I mean, yeah, he did walk a fine line, but he's just trying to save his ass at this point. I mean, and when you brought up Tony Danza, like you said, it happened at the same time that picture was published in the yearbook. So why didn't people get up in arms about this picture in the 80s? But we're digging it up because he said something about abortion. Exactly. That's the whole reason why this picture was brought up.
Yeah, I think it is too. I mean, there's no way to prove that, but I think that's probably why.
You got to be mentally retarded not to see the connection.
I think an actuarial study would show a pretty much correlation.
I'm just trying to be fair that there's
no. I agree.
Evidence.
Oh my God,
but Tony Danza's career was pretty much destroyed after that roast because of blackface. So
he did. The reality is he did recover from it though.
Kind of. I mean, kind of.
Well, I mean, he did the whole Becker thing after that, right?
Yeah, he did. What was it? 3 Men and a Baby, 1, 2.
No. That was before 3 Men and a Baby.
Was it? Oh yeah, but he did 3.
I mean, 3 Men and a Baby was before that. So I mean,
But there were 3 versions of it.
But essentially, what I'm saying is that the stigma of blackface was still very much alive in the 80s. I mean, it's more prevalent now, obviously, because of the political climate we're in. So, either way, he's fucked.
Oh, I think that your governor, I mean, his career, he doesn't have enough life left to recover for his career from it.
Yeah, no, he's done. He's done.
I mean, he's in his 40s, late 40s, isn't he?
Yeah, he's pretty young, I guess, but regardless,
late 40s is, I mean, 20 years from now he'll be in his late 60s. That's not to try and revive a career. He may get something, some kind of small little thing, but to be a major player on the national stage, I think is
that's not going to happen. Yeah, that's done.
You'll end up as something like
he'll be a fucking janitor or something.
Yeah, well, it'd be like an advisor or You know, he'll be in the background.
Yeah, he'll
Photographs.
go, he'll co-sponsor another candidate or some bullshit, endorse another candidate. There we go.
He'll probably become a lobbyist. There's more money in it.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But right now, Virginia is pretty much clamoring for these people to get the fuck out.
Well, the thing was, at the end of the day, was the guy any good at his job? Because the blackface thing, as far as I'm concerned, it should be compared to his capacity to do his job.
You know,
I live
here, and I have no idea if he was any good at his job.
Because to me, that's the only real.
Didn't you just have an election? Wasn't it just last year that he got elected? He hasn't been in the job all that long, has he?
That's right.
Yeah, not that I've seen any dramatic change or influence from this dude. So I don't know if it would be such a great loss if he resigned. Honestly.
Yeah, but Wolfie, I mean, you know, do you know that you're going to get anything any better? And just for the sake of some
honey, I know we're not. We're not.
There you go. So you're going to get some stupid fucker because of some 30-year-old photograph.
You're right. We're going to get some Republican. It's probably going to be a Republican because of the backlash. This push and pull we have in Virginia, like I said, swing state. We're purple. We're going to go Republican now, probably.
Exactly. So he's only been a governor for a little over a year now.
People don't care about that.
Well,
I mean, how much of an effect could he have had?
I don't think he had very much. That's why I said if he resigns now, I don't think it's going to be that much of an impact. Well, but who the fuck? I don't think he should resign. On me personally, I don't think he should resign. However, in his best interest, he's going to end up resigning.
Well, I'm a performance-based judger, you know, and if he's doing a job and something, I mean, especially something that tedious. If he'd done it last weekend, maybe it'd be like, you know. But at the end of the day, if the guy's doing his job and he's doing it well,
I mean, he was clearly doing his job. It's just he didn't know how to shut up.
Yeah,
it's like like when you support something in politics, in my opinion, if you're pro-choice and you want to support something like as inflammatory as what New York did, you don't want to tell everyone.
No, I mean that was stupid.
In my opinion. That's my opinion. You just want to do it. You just walk softly, carry a big stick, you vote for it. If it doesn't go through, it doesn't go through, which it didn't.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, then if that's the issue, I can understand why people might want to get rid of him on, you know, a moral, you know, grounds or whatever.
Well, that's why.
But if it's to do with blackface, it doesn't make any sense because that's just that's petty bullshit.
Well, that's why that blackface came up is because he was so vocal on wanting this New York law, which he should have never said a fucking word about.
Well, he got asked about it. He expounded in a way that basically he said, when the child is born, you can still decide to kill it the next day.
Yeah, he should have never opened
and when he said that, it was Katie barred the door.
It was.
He should have said, I'm pro-choice, and that's about it. Or no comment, or whatever the fuck. He shouldn't have expounded on that at all.
I can
now he's paying for it. He's paying for it. And he should pay for it because you have to be very selective on what you talk about in politics.
That's what I mean. I can understand him being taken to the floor on that issue, but not the blackface. The blackface is irrelevant compared to that.
Yeah, but this is American politics. We like to dig up stupid ass shit on people and pin it to their asses.
That's fine. I mean, you can add that as a cherry on top, but that's really not where he fucked up. Where he really fucked up was the postpartum, you know.
Excuse me. I agree with you. I don't agree with New York's law. Even though I'm pro-choice, I don't agree with that at all. I need to make that very clear. I don't agree with that shit. And he shouldn't have said a goddamn word about it. And in my opinion, shit like that, that's what makes pro-choice people look like murderers. I'm not a murderer.
But Wolfie, isn't it that you actually these people out themselves? You know, and it's like, well, okay, we don't need that kind of person to be running our country. We don't want somebody who believes in that kind of crazy shit. No. So weirdly enough, I mean, you know, if he gets kicked out because of that, good.
Well, yeah, no,
that's not part of your
if the
system anymore.
blackface,
Well, I mean,
if the
more or less.
blackface thing wouldn't have come out, more than likely we would have kicked him out. We would have voted him out, in my opinion.
So you think the blackface is helping him stay in because it's just?
No, I think the blackface thing is going to force him out faster than what would have initially happened.
Okay, well, but I think the blackface is fucking ridiculous. But I mean,
I agree with you.
But the other one, I can certainly understand why people would want to get rid of him. Good job or not, that's more a morality issue.
Well, yeah, people in Virginia still feel very strongly about pro-life versus pro-choice, et cetera, et cetera. So in that, and him opening his mouth on that, I think he was going to be voted out anyways. But now this blackface thing has expedited that. And now this other asshole saying, yeah, I did blackface once. It's just like, but shut up.
Yeah, but,
just shut
but it doesn't
mouth.
matter.
Just shut up.
It doesn't matter. Like I said, blackface is irrelevant. The key point is that he went, like you said, and they even said, like you said, he didn't know when to shut up because he was then going on about, I'll explain to you how it happens. They'll resuscitate the baby and then they'll have a discussion about whether or not to kill it.
Unfortunately, society-wise, it is relevant.
Well,
people
but
reactionary animals, and
but compared to him talking about the idea that he's going to be resuscitated, that babies are going to get resuscitated, and then the parents are going to have a conversation about whether or not to kill it. Well, I thought that was slightly higher up people's, perspectives than some guy doing something 30 years ago dressing up as a dick. I mean, if the postpartum thing is significant, that stuff should just be water off the back. I mean, that shouldn't even get more than a couple of days traction. If people really care about that aspect, the abortion aspect.
If the Democrats are sitting there certain Democrats are coming out and saying, well, I did blackface once, supporting this guy, they're being absolute hypocrites, because what about the Republicans who dressed up as KKK or blackface?
That's what I mean.
It's if you have to crucify them all. If you're going to crucify Tony Danza for doing blackface, Whoopi Goldberg has to come out and say this governor, regardless if he's a Democrat, needs to step down. You need to hold everyone accountable.
Do you really think that the blackface is the thing that tips the balance?
Absolutely.
Really, you think the abortion thing, his TV, explanation about
the political
abortion
climate we're in, man. I mean, Black people are setting shit on fire over monuments. I mean,
that's not. No, that's Antifa.
Let me get candid with you. I mean, today in Newport News, there was we had to lock down a high school because the entire cafeteria broke out into a fight over something as innocuous as someone said something about something. And this is a predominantly Black school.
Yeah, so that's not black white clash, is it? Or was it?
Fuck if I know. All I know is that the political climate, especially when it comes to Black people, it's pretty much we hate white people.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm seeing here.
They need to lighten up.
Well, I'm just saying that the fact that they found blackface, it's made things 10 times worse.
Yeah,
for this governor
than some guy doing stupid things 30 years ago. Is that really the level it's got to? You do have problems.
I'm telling you, it is the level it's gotten to. It's not the abortion thing. I mean, it like I said, the abortion thing would have had an effect on him getting reelected, but this blackface thing on top of the abortion thing has expedited whatever voting out, resignation, impeachment, what a process it's going to happen.
Well,
it's the cherry on top. This blackface thing it's a big deal, and it would be a big deal anywhere in this country. Like I said, because of the political climate we're in. White people are evil. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, I thought that was still restricted pretty much to like the university and the social studies groups and things like that. I didn't think it was really mainstream.
Well, I mean, it depends on how all this is going to end up playing out. I think that I think it has an effect overall. I mean, you got to remember a lot of this is coming to the fore, and a lot of the reason why people are reacting the way they are is because of how this has been dredged up by the press and the fact that the press has been acting holier than thou on these issues. And that now the press is being held to account for their actions from previously. It's like, okay, if this is what your standard is, if this is what you're claiming is important to you as part of your standard, well, then you have to react to this, right?
Wow.
So that's why this whole thing is getting pushed. All right,
Yeah,
that's why this whole thing is got such a large resonance. All right, especially because this has been the narrative, all right, about Trump for the past 2 years. I mean, let me ask you this, Wolfshot. Do you think that if Charlottesville wouldn't have happened, would this situation be as bad as it is right now?
Oh, I think it would be just as bad.
Do you? Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, it's the political climate we're in. I mean, you've got the mainstream media every day saying, you know, something bad about this white people or some shit, and Black Lives Matter, which they do. Fine, but all lives matter and whatever. It's really fucking annoying. You know.
Where's that happening? Because you're not watching the news. You said you don't watch CNN or anything. I mean,
I catch highlights, man. I mean,
right.
I mean,
I didn't realize it was all that.
Look at the Oscars. Look at the Oscars.
Stuff.
Black Panther is up for Best Picture.
Yeah,
that's. Exactly. I mean, that is the perfect example of our political.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. And I haven't seen all these movies, right? I have seen Black Panther. I will admit that, but a lot of these other movies I haven't. What picture is better than Black Panther?
Fuck if the Dark Knight didn't get an Oscar, Black Panther shouldn't get an Oscar. Period.
Yeah, fucking right.
Period.
Yeah.
The only reason why Black Panther is up there is because it's fucking Black Panther, because it deals with black issues in a superhero kind of way. I didn't like Black Panther. I thought it was boring. Yeah, but I liked it. I like the antagonist more than the protagonist, which says a lot. In my
but Infinity Wars, there are other films. I mean, if we're looking in that genre.
Oh, Infinity Wars definitely should be up for an Oscar. Like fucking.
Okay, so you think that Infinity Wars was far superior than as a movie than?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Oh.
Wonder Woman. I mean,
yeah, that was better. That was a good film. I mean, it was a bit weird, but it was.
Well,
good.
Yeah, I didn't like who they chose as the villain. That was just fucking retarded. Anyways, or you've got Roma, which has been nominated for an Oscar. The only reason why Roma I saw it. It's Netflix. It's on Netflix. It was boring. It was fucking boring. The only reason why it's up for an Oscar is because it's a foreign director. Because they want to make the Oscars more diverse because of that movement last year about there are too many white people at the Oscars. You remember? All the black actors and actresses were mad.
It's not the first time that they've done that.
Yeah.
It's not like that happens every fucking year.
Or like when Marlon Brando didn't accept his Oscar and it was that Native American woman, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this has gone back. I mean,
it's like Al Pacino, but like I say, I think that's a very limited thing. I mean, that's Hollywood, and that's, these are crazy fucks. We all know that. I'm not sure how much that relates to the people in Virginia in their businesses or on their farms or, I mean,
we're not all farms
here. Day-to-day lives.
We have a huge Navy population. We have a huge black population. We have a lot.
Yeah, well.
I mean.
Yeah, and military.
So, I don't know.
Yeah,
the political climate is very charged right now.
You don't have a lot of actors there, do you?
No, I don't. I mean, we have Missy Elliott.
So that's what I mean.
We have Missy Elliott.
So I don't think Hollywood really reflects Virginia in any regard.
Not really, but I mean, as a whole, the entire country. I mean. Like I said, look, Black Panther is nominated for an Oscar, and that movie was shit.
But most people look at it as like when Al Pacino went fucking nuts and started doing all this shit, you know, the fuck Trump thing, and it was like, oh, lowest hanging fruit crap that he was doing. Nobody takes it seriously. I mean, Hollywood is a, yeah, it's become a caricature of itself.
Yeah, but
So, you know,
but movies are a reflection on society. It's like that age-old question: does art influence society, or does society influence art? It's definitely both.
well, no, that's the
I
problem.
mean, Spike Lee
The
is
movie-
finally been nominated for a fucking Oscar. If that's not virtue signaling, I don't know what isn't, or what is.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You don't think that Spike Lee deserves an Oscar for any of his work in the past?
Well, I mean, I liked a couple of his movies, but what got nominated was Black Klansman. Have you seen that movie?
No, I didn't even hear about it, to be honest.
Black Klansman is essentially where this black detective posed as a Klansman. And there was a sting operation, and essentially got, he talked to David Duke. He got, he still has his his Klansman card from David Duke, signed by David Duke, all this shit. There was a sting operation getting this really prevalent Klan, wherever the fuck he was, arrested for drug smuggling and arms dealing. It's up for an Oscar.
As a documentary or something like that? Kind of like
No,
Michael
I mean,
Moore?
it's a documentary, but it's in a movie style, so it's like I don't know, it's like a biopic. There we go. I didn't find it.
Well,
I mean, I found the subject matter interesting, that a black guy could infiltrate the KKK. I thought that was interesting, but I didn't find the movie I didn't find it moving. I guess Oscar worth. I don't fucking know, man.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different Oscar categories.
Yeah, but the Oscars is always, I mean, it's a bunch of people, you know, basically applauding themselves. It's just one big ego fest.
Yeah, but
it's
but movies still
narcissism in
reflect
action.
society and vice versa.
No, I think
Well, apparently not, because
it really
if movies
did. I think
reflected society, we'd have like dozens and dozens of recent pictures with people dancing around with blackface, apparently.
Well,
I mean,
no, I think that's a bit of a weird exception, but no, I don't think it does. I mean, this is.
well, you guys
I mean,
bitch
at one
about the
time, it
SJW
was.
shit all the
People-
time and virtue signaling in films. Well,
Yeah, no, that's the reason that it's failing, because they're trying to force it now. So it isn't life imitating art or art imitating life. It's art trying to force, you know, life upon people. It's trying to tell people how to live.
yeah,
their
but
life.
you
And
see
that's what
people
are
doing that
rejecting,
in real
whether
life.
it's in the films or the games. Exactly, and that's what people are rejecting. They don't like it. So, you know, IRL, it doesn't work.
But I see more people telling me they're fucking vegan and I don't give a shit than people standing up and saying, I'm not going to watch this garbage because it's virtue signaling.
Well, you know, blue, you know, give them, take the blue pill away and give them a red one.
So the mess in Charlottesville definitely had an impact. Probably had an impact. I'm not saying it didn't, but I think regardless, if it happened, that there would still be a lot of heat for what he did.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that we're getting close to the end of this broadcast now. Jensen's been giving us 5-minute warnings a few minutes ago.
Oh, sorry,
about how long things have been going.
Oops.
So, and Mad Dodge, of course, is he's way under the weather, kind of ill, which is why he was, I think, in the chat more than anything else. So, you got some final words, Cabbage?
I think it's going to be an extremely interesting time for the next 6 weeks in the US. I'm looking forward to it.
What about you, Woolshot?
What?
Any final words?
I mean, I'm reading the chat and they're telling me that it doesn't reflect society at all. No, it does. You just can't see it. but it's cool.
Okay, I think that's pretty much everything that I've got right now. So Jensen, if you want to go ahead and end this, feel free. I think we're done for the day.
No problem. And thank you all for coming. It's very good to have you here. And thank you, everyone in the live chat. Your opinions were interesting
Ignored.
and ignored by most of them in here. But
Yeah.
thank
Oh,
you for
no,
coming.
no, you
And
all meant to tell us about them, you dick. You didn't say anything.
good evening to all of you.